Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. I'm kind of doing it in a weird tone of voice. I don't know what's quite happening. Feels odd to
Very
me. Feels
serious.
foreign
That
to me.
sounded, yeah.
Welcome to the Horror Hangout. Today on the Horror Hangout, we've got some news, okay? And it's about a film that's just come out, and we're going to talk about it. Sorry, it feels like I'm doing like a news bulletin.
Really
when there's
serious broadcasting. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Like,
is your BBC
okay,
audition.
everybody
This is the
be
BBC
quiet.
World Service, and this is Horror Hangout, a serious
Horror
podcast
Hangout.
where serious people talk about serious films.
We interrupt this program for a special bulletin from Horror Hangout. My name is Ben Errington, and I'm joined by regular co-host. He's ever so regular, Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben, and indeed, hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello, everybody listening out there in the world of horror fans, and it's a big occasion when a much touted and big named movie gets a reboot or a remake or a sequel, and we're here, fingers on the pulse, ready to tell you what we think about it, because I'm sure that's all you've been thinking about over the weekend.
Yeah. What do these guys think about new Hellraiser? We'll tell you shortly.
Hellraiser. I'm stealing your joke.
Yeah. I've been singing Hellraiser in the tune to Goldfinger all this week. And
I tried to record
been
all
great.
this week. I tried to record a little ditty before we jumped on today to try and get it nailed down. Hellraiser, she's the woman with pins in her head. You might end up dead. Yeah.
Such a smell, razor. Burr, 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 burr.
Blood dribbles down.
While we're musing about Hellraiser, I want you to answer me this question. I've been thinking about the series a little bit this week. Is the Hellraiser puzzle dead fucking easy, or is everyone in the Hellraiser films coincidentally shit hot at puzzles?
It's got to be dead easy in it, and I think that it's been made to be easy, so any old fuckwit, can end up at making some sort of deal with hell and the Cenobites, because it seems like all you've got to do is like breathe on it or like nudge it or stroke your pinky finger across it, and it goes, I'm solved. All right. I'm absolutely solved.
Ticks round because that's the alignment configuration then. All right.
If a horrible blade kept coming out every time you solve something, I'd do it at an arm's length. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, just little fingertips on the very corners. Maybe get like a bomb squad in to try and do it.
It'd be on. You sell that in a consumer environment, and Robinson, Alice Beer would be on there right away. You'd be on Watchdog.
Watchdog. Turns out these what they called lament configuration.
This puzzle box summons. Not only will it cut your kid's finger, summon demons from hell.
It's the hottest toy on our high streets since Buzz Lightyear, the Furby, Pokemon cards, and a yo-yo. It's the lament configuration box, but turns out it's causing a hell of a lot of injuries for people who aren't careful. A hell of a lot of injuries. And also, Cenobites, where do you stand on them? Are they coming into your home? That's all right. We got.
And then you've got like Dominic Littlewood is chasing like Pinhead down the street saying, I put it to you that you're actually a dangerous product and you're hurting children. It's like, no comment, original. I mean, we'll talk about new.
I'll tear your soul apart, Dominic Littlewood.
Because aside from the quotes we've seen, we'll get into it in what we watched. I've been watching some of the old ones, but original recipe Pinhead has got a great deal of speaking to the manager energy about him. When he isn't saying quotes like "we'll tear your soul apart," and he's like, I haven't come here for your negotiation skills. He is proper stern. He is like, I think I shared with you and Luke. In the second Hellraiser in particular, he has big, quite strict but still popular teacher energy about him.
Okay, like master. No, he's never popular.
No, he's a wrong one. Like he's got big nonce energy. That one has those glasses, but Pinhead. It's like, you'd have a teacher that would tell you off, but he'd tell you off in a way that the other kids in the class would laugh at.
Yeah, and he's done you there.
Oh, and the one that you'd always want to, like, if you were mucking about at lunchtime and he came out, you'd all run away. Oh no! If he caught you like wazzing bits of wet toilet paper at the ceiling, you'd be
He'd
for
just
it.
beat you up.
Yeah, he'd have like a creative punishment for you that's probably really dangerous. You're going to get up that ladder and you're going to get all off. Except there ain't no ladders. You just got to hold, like you just go away and say you've got to get that down, otherwise you're fucking dead, and they leave you to panic about it.
There are no ladders. Or he'll let you get up there on the ladder, and then he'll take the ladder away and
Just
go,
kick it out from under you. Accidents happen.
listen, you're stuck on the bloody roof now, all right? Now, you could fall and break your neck, but it's 1989, so nobody actually cares.
Accident book, room one.
There ain't an accident, but I've tore it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's original Pinhead though. But what else is in the news this week?
Oh, what else is in the news? So something that we discussed last week, that we were furious about, was the fact that the movies Barbarian and Pearl didn't seem to have UK release dates.
Sort it out.
Now they've got, it looks like they've got some sort of digital release date. So on the October 25th, Barbarian's coming out. I guess that means across all platforms, across all regions, hopefully. So it arrives on digital, and then Pearl, I believe, is early November. I haven't got an exact date, but early November. That's right. Release your horror movies in early November. Why don't you? You know, when everyone's sick of it. No, never sick of it. So there we go. That's good news, and hopefully some of our UK listeners will now know that we can sort of check that film out. Obviously, Lucy did see it at Fright Fest. And, you know, I feel I'm impeccably jealous of that and the fact it's old news to her. She's like, I saw that weeks ago. I'm not even interested about. Don't even care about a release date. All right.
I'm looking forward to that getting a proper release over here. Although painfully, I might still get to see Pearl at cinemas though, because I think, like I said, I'm in the US in a couple of weeks. If I have a free evening, might take myself off to see Pearl or Terrifier 2 or something like that.
Oh yeah, Terrifier 2 also in the US has apparently knocked Top Gun Maverick out of the top 10 list. Don't know how big a deal that is because Top Gun Maverick's been out for ages, but I think people are saying for a small budget horror movie, it's quite a big deal. I did also see a screenshot, and I hate this stuff, but still, I thought I'd share it with you. A screenshot of somebody like being given oxygen outside of a cinema, and like an ambulance rocking up and going, "This guy just went to see Terrifier 2. If you want to know how scary it is, all you need to see is this photo," and just like a guy getting oxygen.
I mean, I will have to mention a little asterisk underneath that he does have COPD. He is on that. He is on that all the time.
And he was watching the new Puss in Boots film. He wasn't watching Terrifier 2.
But the Terrifier 2 was on there, and we can only...
It was on in the next screen, so we're only thinking that...
We can only assume that he heard a bit of it and got in there.
You can't have heard the clown, because Art is a mute.
Yeah, he's a very quiet clown.
Very quiet clown, yeah. So I don't know when UK audiences are going to get to see Terrifier 2 either. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We went through a nice phase of a few years where everything seemed to come out all over the place at the same time, and now something's happening where the US seem to be getting things slightly before.
I don't know. Maybe I could be kind and say it's something to do with negotiating distribution, and people are holding out for more money, or people are maybe being a little bit nervous about the release schedule and saying, "Oh God, there's loads of stuff out in the same week. Do we want to sink underneath that?" Because we've had loads of news stories recently about the success of things being how quickly they are binged in that first week, and people aren't necessarily taking in the longer tail that things have.
Are you binging this? Oh no, I've only seen one episode. Binge it, for God's sake! All right, yeah, I'll get
watch all 10 hours in the first day, please.
I'll get 3 episodes, get 3 different screens, 3 episodes going at the same time, consume it all at the same time. That's a spoiler on the 3rd episode. Don't worry, I've already seen this bit. Don't worry about that bit. Oh no. Yeah, confusing.
Yeah, it's a weird way of measuring it. So maybe that has a hand to play, or maybe people are just being bloody lazy. But like it is weird. It's got big early 2000s energy where this stuff is out in other countries, but you can't necessarily watch it yet, which I think is I don't think it works. It doesn't work in the same anymore, because again, when this was the case of even as far as like the early 2000s, you could get away with it, but now the fact is that anything that has any kind of significant impact will immediately be spoiled. There'll be gifs from key moments of the film. Like people will be, because multi-regional publications, the things that cover pop culture and so on, they won't hold back and say, if something is out in one country, they won't necessarily hold back on putting up their this ending explained. And certainly
Yeah.
anyone that isn't professional
People like doing
publication YouTubers and stuff are going to be putting up their own theories of the ending and reviews and so on.
Yeah. And I think like people making artwork about key moments in the film as well, which is fair enough, but it is frustrating when that happens. A little bit frustrating. But there we go. These things happen. As we've already spoken about, content being infinite, but also everything's so readily available at our fingertips all the time that when something isn't available at our fingertips, we don't know how to quite know how to deal with it. Obviously, it's strange though, considering we grew up in times when films would be at the cinema and then come out on video like years later.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a strange world, but I think now a bar has been set. It's hard to
yeah,
walk back from that. And what I hope the message that they don't take away from it is for any of these things with delayed release, the message I don't want them to take from this is, oh, this didn't do so well in Europe. Oh, well, that means the market isn't strong there. We know that there is a huge horror market, the UK, continental Europe, the lot for these films. I would hope people would say, no, you know what, like,
yeah,
we didn't release it, so people have, in some cases, things that have a physical distribution as well. Like amongst the people we know if people can't wait for something, they will order. They'll order like a US copy. They'll get one. They'll get one ordered over, especially because having hardware that can play that type of thing is not particularly hard to come by if you're a film fan. So people will buy these things in. It just diminishes your returns in the market when it actually comes out.
yeah. Okay. So, other piece of news, apparently there's another Stephen King adaptation in the works for his new novel Fairy Tale, which I don't think is actually a horror movie, is it? But we're talking about one of the biggest names in horror, so I'll still discuss it in horror news. It's getting a film adaptation from Universal Pictures from Paul Greengrass. Ain't he that guy who did like all the Jason Bourne and stuff?
Oh, I thought he was
Greengrass.
I thought he was
Greengrass from Heartbeat.
Yeah, I thought he was the petty criminal in Heartbeat. Yeah.
Bloody old Greengrass.
That's profiling.
What is that song that is currently doing the rounds? That is like someone going, green, green grass, blue, blue sky. And I'm kind of annoyed.
Is it a George Ezra number?
Oh man. Yeah, sounds about right.
And then he says, "I think you'll have a sandwich on the day I die." It's not. It's another line, but something about the day he dies.
Got me the most blandest, ready salted beige gruel lyrics for the most for the most ready salted beige gruel artist. Sorry, George Ezra, I've absolutely thrown you under the bus there. You deserve it. But yeah, Greengrass, Paul Greengrass, making this movie. So Fairy Tale is an epic tale that follows a 17-year-old boy who inherits the keys to a terrifying world where good and evil are at war. And obviously, Stephen King's not this. He's pretty familiar with like the fantasy world. Obviously, he wrote The Dark Tower. And obviously, he's going straight. It feels like anything Stephen King puts his hand to. We got Mr. Harrigan's Phone, which is out now as well, on Netflix. It's a movie as well. For some reason, I thought it was a series, but it is a movie.
Spoilers for the next section, Ben. But he watched it. I'll tell you all about it.
Oh right, okay. And that is just based on one of his short stories as well, isn't it? So it feels like anything he puts his hand to, Stephen King goes, "Oh, there's a rhinoceros, right? And it's over there and milling about, and then it turns into a fish finger. Get the rights for that down, and let's make it next week."
Yeah. It's bankable name, isn't it? If you put in based on the short story by Stephen King, you'll get viewers or listeners or whatever off the back of that.
Yeah. I can't blame them. And then also, last bit of the news I've got here is that before VHS 99 is even out, I think it's out towards the end of October on Shudder, isn't it?
End of this month.
The franchise will be rewinding, I like that, back to the 1980s with VHS 85. Obviously, they're banking on this 99 doing all right, but then again, as an anthology movie, it's pretty easy to just go, maybe that one wasn't so great. Here's a new one. So not to say 99 is going to be bad, but it seems like a pretty bankable way of firing out content. But we've got some filmmakers, including David Bruckner, director of The Night House and Hellraiser 2022. Scott Derrickson, director of The Black Phone, obviously Doctor Strange and Sinister. Gigi Salguerra, who I think has done some of those Blumhouse Amazon movies like Bingo Hell. I think she's done some VHS stuff before, maybe. Actually, maybe I misread that. Natasha Kermani, Mike P. Nelson. So yeah, all new short anthology films in this anthology movie. All over it. Who knows where this could go? 85, 75, 65. VHS didn't even exist back then. Oh, who cares?
I mean,
let's just fire them out.
You can't go that much further forward than the newest one, right? Like, if you can have DVDs creeping in there.
Yeah, DVD. It won't have to quite the same effect, will it? DVD 2001.
I guess you've got VHS Viral, right? Which is the only one I haven't seen of the existing ones. Is that about like? Is that like internet videos?
Yeah, I think so. Can't remember that one very well. Was we discussed the last one, 94, didn't we?
VHS. Yeah, the last.
I think we did
a
bonus episode.
We did a bonus episode on that. I'm looking forward to the new one as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's it for horror news. Now let's dive into what we've been watching. I know for a fact, Andy, that what have you not been watching?
A freaking bonanza, Ben. So I'm going to go for it. If there's anything you've seen as well, we'll pause to talk about it for a little bit. But otherwise, I'm going to touch on these only in the very briefest of ways, because otherwise we've got a lot to get through. So I finished my Howling run through. So I watched the last two Howling movies. Tell you what, credibility to Howling. Oh, I didn't even know they've got subtitles at this point. But the one from the late 90s, which wrapped up the series, I respect the fact that whoever the team that put that behind it, it's probably the lowest one in terms of production value and budget and all those other things. It's basically like a Western Howling movie. And it's gone nicely going through the series. They've gone through all these different things, and it really does try to tie all of the other ones into a singular story. It mentions several of them, lots of returning cast members. Not great in its own delivery, but I appreciated what they tried to do. And then the newest one, which is after a few years, is a high school drama with really shonky TV like morphing, in the same way that like George Lucas turns into that camera with morphing effects. It's like that.
The Animorphs. Remember that?
It's Animorph power. And it's cheesy as all hell.
The Rebirth 5, yeah.
Halloween, they're all about.
How many are there?
New Blood, and that's number 7. That last one, the 2000s one. If not 8, it's all blurred into one at this point. But after that, I've been in preparation for this week's movie. I've done 4 of the Hellraiser movies. So original recipe, the second one, and then Hellraiser, Hell on Earth, where he goes to a nightclub, and then Hellraiser 4.
We got to talk about. We gotta talk about this nightclub scene, right? Because it obviously is a bit like, I don't know, Blade, where walks into a nightclub, not full of vampires, kills everyone. Did you notice how the DJ, even though like 10 people got murdered, the DJ, who I think gets murdered with CDs, is that right?
He gets CD'd, right?
Gets CD'd. The DJ is like, I think he's still like spinning the turntables, even though like 10 people just been murdered on the dance floor. He's still like, and then he goes, huh?
And also, evidently, he's got a load of CDs with him. What's he turning on those turntables?
Exactly. He's an absolute fraud.
Yeah, and then he becomes a CD-based Cenobite because he makes a ton of new fellas. He makes Camera Face. He makes CD. He makes Barman.
Yeah. Which one's Camera Face? Is that the guy with the long hair and the mustache?
Yeah, it's the mustache. It's the mustache.
Basically, any character in this who dies, who's associated with anything, if you're a DJ, CDs should have been records, obviously. If you're a cameraman, your head's turned into a camera.
I feel
if you got a podcast, our heads would turn into iPod
set of headphones,
iPod Shuffle.
And I'd be able to fire out like little audio cables at people.
Hot takes.
Yeah, hot takes. That's what you get. And I feel like Hellraiser 3 Pinhead and Jigsaw have the same MO where he looks at your hobby or something like that and he turns that against you.
Yeah. Did I mention last week that I watched 2 and 3? I think I did, didn't I?
No, I think you did it afterwards. Either that or it's all a blur.
Yeah, I think I did.
So much Hellraiser.
I didn't do it afterwards. Yeah, I was gonna do more than just 2 and 3, but I got to that, and then I think I mentioned I was going to watch that Leviathan Story of Hellraiser documentary as well, which I've watched most of, but there's quite a lot of it. So there's an 11-hour cut knocking about, which I feel like I haven't got hold of an 11-hour cut, and I don't know where you would get hold of it, but so far it feels like there's no Clive Barker involved, which is a bit annoying. And it feels like one of these documentaries. You ever watch a documentary and someone's talking and then you go, was that the best thing they said? I go, they must have said better than that. There's a bit where someone like says something and then like messes up and then goes, oh no, sorry, no. What I actually meant was this. And you go, get that edited out, innit?
That's how it's 11 hours. That's just no cuts. That's just all their footage.
0 cuts. They've just got somebody talking about
But I tell you what, when it comes to those Hellraiser movies, bearing in mind there are 10 films before this new one, I just finished watching
10.
4. I've just finished watching number 4, already in space. In space.
Yeah. How do they get up into space?
Number 4 is a time jump in. It's like Assassin's Creed. There's like basically there's a period of film where Adam Scott, as in Derek from Step Brothers,
oh right, okay.
He is there and he summons a demon in like Regency France because the toy maker makes a box, and then the middle section of the film is modern day where the same actor who is the toy maker is just a guy.
Okay.
And he's built a building that's a bit like the box, and he does have an affair, but he makes up for it by not unleashing hell. So he's kind of okay in the end.
Which one is the space one?
That's the 4th one. And then in the end of it, like you see a bit of space at the beginning.
Bloodline.
And then Bloodline, that's the one. And then
there's one called Hellraiser Hellworld. Evil Goes Online.
Oh yeah, that's that one's coming up. I'll let you know when I get to that. And I'm going to do this whole series.
Space, and they've gone, where else can we go after space? Online.
I'm assuming, because spoilers for Hellraiser 4 Bloodlines, everyone. In the end of Hellraiser 4, the goodies win, and Hellraiser is destroyed forever. But I assume that anything else that happens between that period of time and the distant future, where they actually get got forever, it's all fair game. Right, we've been slow, Ben. I'm going to fire through the others. I watched Turbo Kid, which I loved. Is great. Basically, Raven Banner just put out every film that I enjoy. I imagine by the looks of things, like that is definitely my aesthetic. I love it. Turbo Kid was an absolute delight from start to finish. I watched Benny Loves You, which is very silly. It's about a toy that is discarded and comes back to life, and it kind of it's a psychotic little bunny that does murders to the guy that he's a bit of a loser.
Okay,
it's trying to get his life together, so he goes through away toys. So it comes to life and it's trying to help him. Very very silly, made me sadder than I wanted it to, and I was kind of on the side of the toy because I threw it away, saying, "Come on, you can live your life without being disrespectful. Come on." But I did enjoy that, silly as it was. I watched Body Double, which is an absolute bonanza of a thriller. A guy is an out of work actor. He basically, I can't do it without spoiling it. It's got good Rear Window energy. It's about there being a murder, and then this guy goes into the underworld of porn. Frankie Goes to Hollywood is in it briefly, like an entire music video almost. It's absolutely, it's that one. It's absolutely absolutely crackers but really really like it's mad. But
the main character's called Jake Scully. Isn't that the same as a character from Avatar?
Is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, maybe it is.
Or is it like, oh no, wait, Jake Sully. Close.
Almost.
That's close. I thought we were getting like a kind of a sequel.
Yeah. Body Double was great. I watched Black Sabbath, which is like a 60s classic bit of horror. I picked it up from watching the top 101 horror moments on Shudder. That's good. Like really good classic horror. Got some Chekhov in there. All really good. Like 3 creepy stories across the lot of it. Really early, that horror anthology. It's on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. It's good. I watched Monster House. The slightly uncanny CG has dated a little bit, and some of it is a little bit cancelled, but I really enjoyed it. It's a good
A little bit cancelled.
Yeah, it's a
Things
little
are
bit.
most things are a little bit cancelled,
Yeah,
right, these
a little
days,
bit
aren't they?
cancelled. Yeah, I still enjoyed it. I caught up with Day Shift, which I know you watched a long time ago. Silly but fun.
Oh yeah.
I watched Mr. Harrigan's Phone, which I liked. I liked it a
Yes.
lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I felt, it's. I'm going to hesitate and say it's not quite. It's not quite like Green Mile in terms of the sadness because it is based on a short story and so on. But think of Green Mile, Stand by Me, Stephen King more than you do It and the Tommy Knockers.
Okay.
Like it's
I've got
it's got
I've
a
got
little
it
bit of
lined up to
spookiness
watch
in
this week.
a little bit of spookiness in there, but it's mostly just quite nice. It's about relationships and feelings, Ben.
Ah.
You'll enjoy a bit of that.
Zero
Um,
jump scares.
Zero jump scares.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah. Some horrible
like it.
bullies in it though. You got to watch out for them.
Stephen King loves a bully.
Yeah,
Loves
bullies.
writing a bully. 'Cause
Although I felt a bit sorry for this bully. I think he had a hard time.
Oh yeah, twat. Okay.
Yeah, but he had a hard life. So Mr. Harrigan's
yeah.
Phone, really enjoyed it, and Donald Pleasant's absolute champion in it. Absolutely,
Oh yeah,
really, really good. Werewolf by
Wait,
Night.
no,
sorry,
not Donna Pleasance, Donna Sutherland, right?
Sutherland. Sorry, wrong. Got my Donalds mixed up. It's been a long
Got
day.
it.
Getting my
Yeah.
Donalds. Oh, he's duck. Don't wear
Died in
trousers.
1985 or something. Not that Donald. He's always got his knob out. Yeah,
not that one. It's the other Donald. Donald Sutherland. Very good. Yeah, Werewolf by Night I watched, which I really enjoyed. Have you seen that yet?
I watched Werewolf by Night last night. Yes.
It's good, isn't it?
Really enjoyed it. Nice little homage, isn't it, to sort of like Universal monster movies. It's not too shiny, which is always a worry with some of the Marvel stuff. I say a worry, like I'm not bothered by that, but it wasn't too shiny. It seemed to be it wasn't too scared to show some gore, even though it was black and white. So I think it clearly was just going
with a little bit
too
more
much blood. Yeah. I liked it, and I guess it's a spoiler if we discuss a certain character in it, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a certain character. Wait until we'll give it another week or two before we talk about that. But I really like it. I hope that means we're getting more of that stuff. For me, it's incredibly exciting that we're getting that at the same time as the other things that are running, like She-Hulk, which is completely different aesthetic, but in the same world, all in all.
Yeah, it makes me interested to think that obviously we're gonna get a Blade. And then there's a universe where obviously some of these characters exist as well, where this is potentially going to go in terms of like some horror themed Marvel stuff, which I think we need. I think in terms of like the worlds that they're building and all the different things that they've got, everything from in the realms of space and time travel and multiverses and everything. Give us some horror stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, good. More of that, please. I saw the first half of Midnight Club. I'm halfway through that right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've not got right. I don't know why it's been proper off my radar. That is Flanagan, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's old the Flan Man. He's
the old Flan Man.
The Flan Man himself. I'm enjoying it. It's a very different thing, and it's totally down to personal aesthetic. The main characters are all teenagers. I'm not a teenager. It took me a little bit longer to grip onto them versus the characters in a lot of his other series that he's done for Netflix, roughly my age or thereabouts. So it was a different thing. It took me a little bit longer to grip onto, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking the character work in there. I will carry on through that. I watched the first episode to the one you told me about with the ducky costume, watched Wreck on BBC iPlayer. There's a lot of stuff out right now. I maybe wouldn't prioritize this. I am going to get and watch it all eventually, but I'm finding the premise is interesting. The setting is interesting, but same issue, Ben, as I had with Smile last week. I don't get it why people can't just be good at their jobs. Like everyone who is working with them is an arsehole in the workplace. It's like, no, just be good at your job. There can still be a murderer, but I don't know why everyone that isn't your main character has to be a prick. Or no one who isn't like every person they meet has to be like horrible, like comically horrible, or bad at their jobs, or lazy, or just a twat. Like it really takes me out of a thing that there isn't just a degree of competence about the world. But I am going to stick with it. I am going to stick
Otherwise,
with it.
otherwise Andy's going to come round and
And then
do your
finally, Ben,
KPIs.
filling
Do
out
your
an epic
KPIs for
list,
you.
I watched Perfect Blue.
Which one?
Yeah, I'll set your KPIs for you. Sorry, I lost you for a second there.
What did
Yeah, I finished. I just got you came back in as like a roller coaster, something about KPIs. I was back in line straight away. Yeah, I'll sort them out. But I
Yeah, and what
finished
was the
off this. I
last
thought
thing you watched?
all this other stuff. Perfect Blue was the last thing I
Mm.
watched. The anime about a pop star who becomes an actor, and there's a stalker, or she's going mad. Who knows which one is it? Watch it and find out. It's very good.
Oh wow!
Good psychological horror. Yeah, it's on
Oh,
Shudder
it's
now as
like
well.
horror as well, is it?
Yeah.
Very nice. That
How
sounds
about you,
good.
Ben? Have you watched anything? I know I've just rattled off a big list.
Massive epic list. So I saw My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I think you saw last week.
Yeah, what did you think?
I mean, I don't think it had like the charm of the book. I felt like it was weird. I was watching it. I was like, I can't remember much of what happens in the book, but I remember it being a bit more charming than this. I felt like it hit. It was a bit of middle. It felt like middle of the road, sort of like teen drama, teen horror. Inoffensive. Is that a good way to describe it? Didn't a good start of horror possibly for somebody. So yeah, not particularly.
I liked it with more time to think about it over the last week or so. I still enjoyed it. I think I realized what it was that got me. I think, sometimes you get referencing and it works very well, and sometimes you get referencing that you feel is a bit heavy-handed. I felt like the referencing was almost like, in air quotes, like, we're referencing this thing now.
Okay.
I think you can go a bit lighter on it.
Haven't you heard of this and all that stuff?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I watched a lot of the things that you've seen as well. So, well, I say a lot of them. I saw a couple of Hellraisers. Saw Werewolf by Night. I watched John Carpenter Live retrospective, which was him performing a lot of tracks from his films and stuff from like his Lost Themes album. Just lovely to sort of hear them all in a sort of like full band situation, and the way he introduces every little song, kind of cute, where he just goes, "This song is from They Live," and does a little there's a little intro like about the film or something. It's just, I don't know, I really liked it. So that was fun. And then today I watched Deadstream. So the new movie on Shudder. Yep. So it's like a disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night in a haunted house. Really good. Really funny. Kind of like a bit of dash cam, a bit of Evil Dead, probably more like Evil Dead, I'd say. Supposed to be like a asshole internet personality, but I just find him really funny. The comedy really did land. The effects are a bit rubbery, but that's what kind of gives it the sort of original Evil Dead sort of look and feel. And yeah, it doesn't rely too much on jump scares. It's a really interesting, considering it's like a found footage / POV horror movie. It almost feels like you back yourself into a corner with stuff like that, with the kind of things you can do. But yeah, I'd say pretty ingenious, to be fair. I was on the edge of my seat pretty much throughout. It was a hoot.
Yeah, I've got that on my list to watch as well. I'm looking forward to it. I've strategically saving things that are on streaming services like Shudder towards the end of the month when I know I'm away from home, because I can still access those. I haven't got to rely on that physical media.
Of course, yeah, it's good. And yeah, so far October's been a bit of a bonanza. I've managed to see quite a lot, but I've sort of been making a list of things that, oh yeah, that's out. Oh yeah, I've got to watch this month and everything like that. So still plenty more to come. So yeah, and we're only in we're on day 10 of October, so we're probably about halfway through. We've also obviously been doing the 31 Days of Horror Hangout every day on Twitter, sharing old episodes. It's a weird one, because I was like, we're kind of recommending films, but then when I was writing the ratings down, some of them were films we didn't necessarily
It's like, no, hated this,
vote as favorably, but still like good watches. So I think like the last two we've recommended were Amityville Horror and My Bloody Valentine, where I think like on the surface we were quite middle of the road in terms of our ratings, but I think I'd still recommend them to watch. Amityville Horror is a sort of classic Halloween style film, and My Bloody Valentine is a really underappreciated slasher, I think.
Yeah, of the two, actually, maybe a little bit controversial, and say if you're going to watch one of them, watch My Bloody Valentine. I really liked it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm talking about Amityville horror as well. I was remembering all the stuff about Jodie the pig, and did a little bit of research into that. That's fascinating stuff. That is
the sort of pig cat monster that comes at the window. Just that time.
Yeah. So
Madness.
that is pretty much all I've seen this week, apart from film what week,
That's right.
which I'm hoping you've seen as well.
I have. I've watched it especially.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Ooh. So, film of the week is a movie called Hellraiser, which is a 2022 American supernatural horror film directed by David Bruckner. So obviously it's the second adaptation of the 1986 novella The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, which served as the basis for his 1987 film Hellraiser. So it's getting described here as a reboot of the titular franchise and the 11th installment overall. Reboot, yes, but I think, are we still supposed to believe that a lot of what's come before still has happened in a way? I guess in terms of possibly, maybe.
As long as it happens before the events of Bloodlines, I reckon it can fit in.
yeah. Okay. What about the online one? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so a young woman struggling with addiction comes into possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites. No matter what you thought about this puzzle box, you'd have it solved before you even put it down. You'd pick it up,
Just
solved.
breathe on it.
See you later. Exactly. It's too easy. It's like level one of what's a really easy level. It's like the £100 question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Almost like taking a piss a little bit with what the question is.
Do you want to get this question? A, right. B, wrong. C, wronger. D, wrongest.
Yeah. It's basically it is ridiculous. It's almost like so ridiculous to the fact where you go, is this a trick? Is this a trick? And that's kind of what the puzzle box, the lament. How am I saying? Am I saying it correctly? Lament configuration.
Yeah, lament like our
lament
dead sad
configuration.
about that. I'm lamenting it.
I'm lamenting it. So this is, I guess like a reboot, a retelling, a reimagining of, but it's not of directly of the story Hellbound Heart, which the original film Hellraiser 1987 version pretty much tells the story of that short. It's like a novella, isn't it? It's maybe even shorter than the novella, if I remember correctly.
Or a pamphlet.
Well, it's a bloody pamphlet. This is one of those little maps you get from
Alton Towers.
Unfold it. It's just how
Where's the nemesis?
the characters, the events of that. I think maybe the Cenobites are slightly different. I think the design of these Cenobites were pretty much done specifically for the 1987 movie. So these are like a reimagining of that. But yeah, so this has only been out for a few days, and it seems like again the horror world or everyone who's anyone is rushing to go and check it out as I did. And yeah, I think on the whole it's a success, right? I mean, I say right. I don't know how you feel at all.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
I liked it overall. I have very limited history with the Hellraiser franchise. So in reality, apart from in the last week or so preparing to watch this Hellraiser by watching 4 of them, I think I'd only seen 1 and most of 2 until that point.
I'm pretty sure I'm right there with you. I think I'd seen 1. I've definitely seen 2. And I've maybe seen bits and bobs of other ones. Don't think. I mean, then again, I may have seen a couple more, but that's the first 2 are the only ones I really remember. My relationship with Hellraiser is that my dad had it on VHS. And I was just fascinated by the box art. Just almost like, what the hell is that then? What's going on with his boat race? What's going on with this guy's head? Can't believe it. That looks painful. Is that real? That sort of thing.
And used to get at school, used to get those wooden boards that had loads of nails in them for you to do like art things with elastic bands on. Used to think, mate, think it's like that. If you fell on that, you turn into Pinhead.
You turn into bloody Pinhead, yeah. And obviously, from watching the documentary, Leviathan, I've learned a lot about the making of that movie. I don't know how I feel in terms of it feeling Clive Barker, because there's something about the world sort of Clive Barker's fiction is in, not just films, but I don't know, obviously like the books. There's this sort of like grimy, like genuinely a bit stinky and disgusting and sexy and This feels quite glossy in terms of a Hellraiser. Like I think the original movie, in that attic, you feel like you walk in there and you'd know what it'd stink. There'd be like flies, there'd be like gunk, the floor would be sticky.
Yeah, you'd go in there, go,
Frank,
oh, poor, it seems like a wanker's nightmare up here.
don't come in here, all right? It's bloody disgusting. It feels there's something about Clive Barker's. I'm obviously like Nightbreed, for example, and Books of Blood and everything like that. There's something about it. We should have Luke Condor here today because he is essentially the Clive Barker.
But he is a Cenobite this week. He's poorly. That one.
He's a Cenobite. He's a Cenobite called Poorly.
Called Poorly comes out, and that little box. It's a box of tissues, isn't it? Because he's got a cold. He's
so excited when
you
you
him out. He does the little configuration, and the little bit opens.
Another one comes out,
and then like
a different one comes out.
You can pull out tissues to blow his
like
nose.
An aloe vera, a balsam one comes out. Lovely, soft on the nose.
It's the sinus configuration. I put it on.
I've not read as much Clive Barker as obviously probably as Luke has, and I've seen obviously just a handful of the films. But there's something about it. You know how like you watch something Stephen King and there's a vibe, there's a flavor, there's an atmosphere. It's almost like it probably would be impossible, but you feel like you could watch or read. You could read a paragraph, or you could watch 5 minutes of something. You go, this feels very Stephen King.
You're right. Like Stephen King has there's a certain aspect. You already pulled up. In Stephen King, you'll get horrible bullies. In R.L. Stine, people don't get on with their siblings. In what's his name, Robert Zombie, everyone's horrible. Everyone's family is horrible to him. Like every dad in the world is an abuser. In Clive Barker stuff, I feel like the thing is none of the lights work properly. If a light does work, it makes a buzzing noise, and you think it's going to break any time.
None of the lights work properly. Everything's kind of sticky and like there's BDSM, leather and chains and stuff, but not in a way that you'd ever really want to get involved in. In a way that you're like, bloody hell, that come sharp.
There's no tantalization in that sense. Oh, maybe that would feel all right actually. But no, horrible. No. It feels like those fellas in hell. I feel like they've peaked with the thing that they do is hooks and chains.
It feels like a brand of horror that, like, the only thing I can think of that's kind of similar, it reminds me of like Silent Hill in a way, where like everything's kind of rusty and unclean, and if you were in that world, I'd be always looking where I was going to step. And I think the point I'm trying to make is this film feels a lot more glossy and Americanized, I guess, and that is the only thing. I mean, overall I think it's a success, but I think the only thing I took away from it was that it felt like that grime
a bit cleaner. Like it feels like even though there's some horrible stuff going on, there probably is a quiet corner where you could have a sit down. I feel like
because it happens in loads of like really lush looking interiors as well, like a nice house, lovely shiny floor.
Yeah, I feel like there'd still be places you could sit, whereas in original recipe Hellraiser, there's no way you can put a drink down, let alone anywhere where you could like sit down. You'd have to hope you're wearing a coat, but you didn't mind getting dirty. You put that down first before you sit anywhere.
There's a bit in the original Hellraiser where it's suggested that a man who's been lured back to be a victim of Frank is going to have sex with I can't remember what her name is, main character lady, lovely hair.
Evelyn.
He's gonna have it is the same actress.
Her name isn't Evelyn, but no.
Oh my god, in my head they look the same. Also, I've never seen more of a glow up from movie 1 to movie 2 than that particular character. I don't know if it's just a hairstyle, but in the second film, I was like, Jesus Christ, who's that? Same character.
Spend a bit of a time as a skinless corpse, and it really does the world for you.
Claire Higgin, Julia. But there's a bit in the first one where they're like, let's lie down and have sex on this horrible. You'd get splinters in your ass.
And the guy seems up for it before he gets bashed with hammer. He's like, go on.
Really go on then. I'll get down on that floor.
Guess I don't actually want to do any sleeping like you would in a bed. Yeah, but still.
No, and I also feel like the sort of main character being like an addict of sorts, it almost felt like, I don't know, it felt like I expected that, and it didn't. There was something about it that didn't feel didn't feel unexpected, and that's kind of sometimes when, especially with a new take on something, you kind of think, oh, I wonder where I'm going to go with this. And as soon as it was like an addict, I was like, okay, easy target for the old Cenobites, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I think as well, the Cenobites, what I quickly learned from watching a few of these movies in succession is that they're pretty fast and loose with these rules. At one point, he's like, it's actually when the girl from the asylum in number 2 summons them, old Pinhead comes out and he goes, actually, it's Desire and not Hands that summon us, so she's all right, actually, if you don't mind. But
Yeah.
other times, if you're the person, like, you just blow on that box and it goes off, it's like, summoned, sorry, chains.
There are some things I don't quite understand as well. Like, especially again, we can't really judge this film on the same merits as the others because I think the rules are all over the place. First of all, I'm not always entirely sure that everybody can see the Cenobites at all times, or whether they just choose as and when that you can see them or someone can see them. Occasionally, I feel like, can just one person see them and no one else can, or can everybody? There's that, and also, spoiler incoming. I ain't getting on board with the fact that of all the victims the puzzle bots can have, I'm not getting on board with the fact that you can just choose one of the Cenobites to be the victim for
Yeah,
this bit.
my bullet point when we get to that part of that plot is loopholed.
Yeah, I'm going absolutely not. There's no way. And then I go,
It kind of defeats the purpose. Again, we'll say this one more time. Spoilers for this new film that you may not have got to watch yet. Listen to us talk about it if you don't care about spoilers or you're not going to watch it. But I think it's worth watching. Save it if not. Save it and come back after you've seen it. But
yeah,
and I don't know if this happens. Maybe this is a Hell World rule, Ben. Maybe this comes in one of the films I haven't seen yet. But I feel like if the thing about you being a target for the Cenobites now is that you were cut by the box rather than you chose to do it, then it's just like an accidental thing, isn't it? It's like, you've been nicked on that, and then why is it a box? Why isn't it a knife? Because that'd be a lot better for just cutting people with.
but then also it's like, oh, what's that? You cut yourself, did you? Yeah, we're gonna take you now. Are you? Unless you just choose someone else. All right then.
But only if you're the person that we have arbitrarily decided we're interested in seeing what wishes you'll make. So
Yeah,
you will cut. Well, actually, you will cut you loads of slack. Actually, but we'll come and say, "Oh, we could get you now," unless you want to choose someone else. And even then, like when she says no, they then they have the bit behind the gate where it's like, oh, I might get you. I'm coming really slowly.
Yeah.
Unless you do something about it now. 3, 2, 1.5, 1.25, and it's like, yeah, he's they cut her a lot of slack.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I'll just read out the scores we've got so far. So obviously, it's not been out for long, so probably not had a chance to have a really good cross section in terms of how it's scoring across the board. But it's got 6.2 on IMDb, 3.2 on Letterboxd, 68% critic score, 64% audience score. Some choice reviews on Letterboxd. White Davis says, I love how horny and weird and gross it is and how it leans into the metaphysical lore. It's a great addition to / reboot of the franchise. But then only 3 stars. Seems like a lot of positive stuff there, but only 3 stars. Being a very stingy with your stars there. Okay. Justice Hepburn says, the Cenobites are fun. Everything else is kind of dull, but a fucked up monster hottie talking about how cool it is to do torture goes a long way for me. Again, 3 stars. And then Cenobite. How Cenobite got a Letterboxd account? 4 stars, says,
Well, they would, wouldn't they?
They bloody would. Sort of like an early Dark Castle produced Hellraiser. Set design, particularly Voight's house, feels extremely House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts. Addiction micro narrative was uninterested, but that's fine. Larger issue is that nothing felt really erotic or even remotely transgressive. I mean, there's a lot of good points there. Like Dark Castle produced Hellraiser, didn't really think of it, but the whole third act is kind of like all takes place in one location. And obviously that was kind of what made Hellraiser, the 1987 version, very unique, is it just took place in what felt like a very small It's set in the UK as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly just like that sort of 3-bed semi that they're doing.
Three
And then
bed semi, yeah.
there's that one scene in the pet shop
Oh yeah, big scene in
where
the pet shop.
where he eats where he eats them crickets. The guy, the
Yeah.
guy that's not in it for the entire film, but then is a dragon skeleton at the end. Him.
That dude. You should watch a documentary if you want to find out about how and why that dragon skeleton came together. Very
They just add
interesting.
it. They're like,
Well, we got dragon skeleton coming together. Apparently some guy got sent out with like $30 to buy a skull of anything to make this thing, and he found like a
dragon.
sort of I think it's like an antelope or something like that, or something. Anyway, so yeah, it made me kind of think, if this whole film just took place in one house, I liked those bits where the Cenobites can kind of get trapped, but also like they seem to appear and disappear whenever they want. So that supernatural element of them. See, why is it limited suddenly when there's like, oh, this door's shut? Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
It
yeah,
feel
sorry, I am
it,
trapped now.
it feels a bit mad, inconsistent.
Yeah. We
And
can
as I said,
teleport
like
into a van, but behind
can't
this.
get out of this gate. Even if you just turn your head sideways, you probably get through those gaps in the gate. Nah, it's gonna be a no from me. So yeah, there are inconsistencies. I don't know how I feel about the main character in terms of, I don't know, like, am I supposed to genuinely like understand her plight and feel? I'm not sure. I feel like we pick up with her at such a point in the story that she's already gone through the 12-step program and now she's like clean essentially. That I don't know, that when she starts being not clean, unclean again, you're almost a bit like, for God's
Well,
sake,
you've blown it.
you've bloody blown it.
For me, I think we'll finish off thematically overall. For me, I think the most interesting things were the two ends of the seriousness spectrum. Like, I liked it when it goes full on horror and we get the Cenobites. I thought their design was really good. I like it that they've almost gone beyond the I guess the commercial and the real world kind of almost fetish stuff that they have anymore, because they don't really have leather outfits on anymore. They've got flayed skin that kind of makes their clothes.
Flayed skin, or looks like a butcher's apron,
Yeah,
made of skin.
yeah, they've got like they've all of their clothes, it appears to be made out of skin. Like, it isn't just, I'm a spooky bloke with a full set of leathers that I got from hell.
Are you one of the Cenobites, or are you from Nine Inch Nails in 1999? Well, who knows? Nobody knows.
Could be either. Maybe both, can be two things. But yeah, so I liked that side. But the other side of it was, I liked the light bits. I like the stuff with the nice normal relationship with the characters. I like the bit we get in a very early scene where a main character and a boyfriend are having sex, and they come out and then, oh, you're having Mexican food night, and you all heard us having sex now. We're all a bit embarrassed. I like that stuff. And I like
That's the order
that.
you want to do it in, though.
Yeah.
You don't want to have Mexican food and then have sex.
Nah.
I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, there was like, when he said about there's no eroticism in there. I mean, there's like people having sex, characters having sex, and that, but there's no like real eroticism from the point of view of the Cenobites. And also, like, I think the performance of Jamie Clayton as the Hell Priest, aka Pinhead, I guess.
Yeah, it says priestess, doesn't it? It doesn't say Pinhead, even though looking
Doesn't
at
say
her.
Pinhead.
Tell you
No,
what, looking at her, I'd go with Pinhead.
I'd go with Pinhead. Yeah. Are you Pinhead? I'm the priestess, actually. Obviously, like in the Hellbound Heart, I don't think the word Cenobites was ever mentioned, and also the fact that Pinhead was like sort of androgynous and not really wasn't a particular gender. So, I mean, in terms of that, that's fine. That's great. I don't know how I felt about this performance, though. I feel like there's something about Doug. Is it Doug Bradley? Douglas Bradley.
Doug Bradley, yeah.
His performance. He still kind of looks human, right? And something about him still looking human makes his performance feel that much more like vicious, and there's something about it. His horrible discolored teeth and his I mean, I think he's got like contacts in, but something about he still kind of looks human. Whereas I think something about this pinhead, this priestess, is a bit like slow moving. I like the voice. I think the voice is great. But I don't know. In terms of threat, I don't know. With Douglas Bradley's version of Pinhead, I always found, I mean, looks absolutely amazing, and I think all the Cenobites do. I think they all look great. But yeah, in terms of threat, until one of them, the one behind you, starts sprinting, that was probably the only time I was like, "Oh, watch out! Here they come."
Look out! They get the strings after you and all.
Whereas I think with the original Cenobites, that you feel that threat, all they have to do is just like slowly move into shot.
I
And
I feel like in this one, it's going to feel like a real subtle thing because I think you're right. I think Jamie Clayton's performance of it is brilliant. For me personally, it felt like, and there's a part of it. This is built into the lore that these Cenobites are puppets or servants of this god that they serve. Right? You know, she is. She's the old man at the end of the Last Crusade, telling someone that they chose poorly or wisely. Whereas even in the first Hellraiser, Doug Bradley's version of Pinhead gets a character of its own, and you feel like he is someone who has a role in the bigger lore. He has a job in hell, and he does this thing, and he enforces the rules and things. But he also has some personality. He's got big speak to the manager energy. I've told you, but he gets to put in a little bit of character to it, whereas the lines Jamie Clayton is given feels like it is the mouthpiece for a god. It is saying
yeah,
it is saying the scriptures, and it is saying the matter of fact things about it. I would have liked to see her get more chance to put some of her own character, do that a little bit, and then maybe ad lib some of it a little bit more.
I'm glad they didn't try to humanize her, because I think that was the stuff that didn't work for me so much in Hellraiser 2. When they tried to like go, oh, you know that Pinhead who has only been established in pretty much the last 15 minutes of the original movie? Yeah. Did you know he was a soldier?
It's a bloke.
What? Just a bloke. And I'm always like, what? And then they show him with his like receding hairline and his little, and I'm like, I don't know. It kind of ruins it for me a little bit. I'm like, well, why? I kind of want to know why he's this mouthpiece of the Leviathan, why he's this hell priest essentially, and he just looks like a sort of normal bloke. I'd rather he was evil in real life, real evil, and then when he became a Cenobite, he just carried on doing what he was doing, essentially.
I guess they just maybe change your mind about stuff though as well, because I think you could be into some pretty weird stuff, but then not think. Oh, I'll tell you what, I reckon the next level of this is whack a load of pins in my head. Might be all right.
Whack a load of pins. A design choice that is good is that those pins that are in the head of the Hell Priest Jamie Clayton seem to all be involved in the design of the other Cenobites in some way. It seems like it's a key thing to like their coming of age in terms of being a Cenobite. Like, oh, you want to be a Cenobite, do you? Get all these pins, in your neck, pulling your flayed skin apart, in some sort of pattern on your body. They all seem to be. Is there like some consistency there? Whereas in the original, it kind of just felt like, would you not be cool? Pins in the head. Whereas with this one,
you've
it
got
feels
some
like
pins. Your big old nemesis face. You've got you've got an open throat. You're a big fat man with Dr. Robotnik glasses. Like you can choose. Like you can do it. Whereas these ones have, you're right, like a consistent design, consistent theme. Tell you what, Ben, spoilers for Bloodlines again. You'll never guess what Pinhead's got in that one. Got himself a dog.
Oh, really?
There's a Cenobite dog. I don't know how a dog. I mean, their puzzle is really easy. A dog appears to have found a way to open the puzzle box.
Yeah, just sniffed it. Oh my god, it looks a bit like the thing for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he's got a little bit. Got a Hellraiser dog. In it.
Wow. Yeah, or maybe like you've done the puzzle box and then your dog's trying to protect you from the Cenobites, and they've gone, you know what? We'll have him as well. Get some pins in him.
Get him to hell. I mean, makes them the worst. They've obviously tortured a poor dog as well.
Yeah. But I think overall, this film is still good. I think a lot of the stuff where the Cenobites are slowly being introduced, the puzzle box is slowly working out what it does. Some of the lore and some of the ideas behind and around what's his name, Volt, Roland Voigt.
Yeah.
The fact that he's kind of obsessed with the puzzle box and he's got this plan, big nefarious plan. He's gone missing. I was like, oh well, I wonder when he's going to turn back up then.
Yeah, he's
I think
not
that was all.
he was
That was all
never in it
pretty
again.
interesting. The design of the mansion at the end is cool, but yeah, there's a lot of. I don't know if you noticed this. How often? I'm not going to say this film necessarily. Do you remember the third movie ends with like all the Cenobites are descended upon the main character? What's going to happen? Just do the puzzle box a bit, and it will help you somehow.
Yeah,
even though
do it backwards.
It seems to be I'll just do the puzzle box. Oh, some blue lightning came out and killed you. It feels like there's no real resolution at any point to any of it. It's like the Cenobites come out, they need to kill people. Fair enough. They don't go. They never seem to go. We're satisfied with all the people we've killed. Goodbye. They always get their comeuppance in some sort of way. Usually in terms of blue lightning.
Yeah, hubris. They hang about too long, and then they get cubed.
Yeah. Okay, so who have we got in this? So we've got the main actress is Odessa A'zion. She plays Riley, the young addict. Jamie Clayton, obviously, is a hell priest, leader of the Cenobites. Adam Faison and Brandon Flynn are Matt and Colin. Matt's the brother. Colin is Matt's boyfriend. There's a character called, and I don't mean disrespect this character, there's a young lady character in it. Honestly, at one point I was like, hang on a minute, who's that? I don't remember her. And I think it's just because she got like little to no, she didn't really get much to do. I think she was there from the start.
Is it
when she
turned
up,
Nora who gets just
yeah,
she's the roommate?
The roommate
who gets
when she turned up at the house, I was genuinely like, who's that? I don't remember that person. But yeah, she was there in the roommate. And Drew Starkey is Trevor, who is like Riley's boyfriend, met in the 12-step program. He's like leading her astray, essentially, because he's like, 12-step program, right? Yeah. How was that addiction for you? Yeah, pretty bad. Yeah. Do you want to go on the rob?
Do you want to go on the rob? Do you want to go rob some treasure boxes? All right.
Yeah. And then we got a lot of people playing Cenobites, including. Do you know much of their names? Obviously, got the Chatterer. Do you know any of the other names? I've got them listed here, but
I've seen the Gasp.
Gasp, yeah.
Then there's the Asphyx.
That's the one behind you, I guess. The one with severe lung problems.
There's old Asphyx.
The one who needs their ass fixed.
I would have thought the Gasp, because I wrote down as I was giving them names myself as they went through. So I had Wheezy, Stingray.
Stingray. Well, I know, like the shit seven dwarves.
Yeah, Wheezy, Stingray, Pinhead,
Wheezy, Sneezy, Breezy, Stingray, Gasp. The Weeper is one of them. Don't fear the Weeper.
Don't worry about that one. Chatterer's in it again. It's the
Chatterer's in it, but far more chattery than usual, I think.
Yeah,
he's got more chattery.
Can't shut him up.
And can't shut him up. I think before he was a bit like, do a bit of chattering, and I'll shut up for the majority. He's constantly chattering.
And there's Beetle, and there's Big Bad Beetle. Yeah, it's got like pointy shoulders and like a little beetle mouth and goes, yeah, Beetle.
Here's a weird one. I've like no jaw. That one, jawless. And then Goran Višnjić is Roland Voigt, the charismatic businessman. And obviously there's some other minor characters as well, especially in the opening scene, which is in this lovely house. There's like a big modern mansion. Reminds me of what end? Do you remember the end of Hellraiser where they were like, "Oh, we've built a hotel here now."
Oh, the end of Hellraiser 3, where they go, now they're gone forever, but they built a house in Hellraiser box style.
Yeah, it looks the same. It reminds me of that in a way.
That building comes back again in number 4, Ben.
Does it? In space? The building goes up to space.
No, it's in the modern section, and then it goes to space later. That's all right.
Okay, I got you. So in this, there is a mansion which is kind of reminiscent of that a little bit. Not like all the decor isn't exactly the same as the box, but there's some bits which are like sort of modern. There's a sort of skylight thing which has got this sort of pattern on it. And it seems like this is like what? Orgy house.
Yeah, he's having a lovely party, isn't he?
There's a lovely party. It says sex worker Joey. I didn't get that from the main character. I just thought he was a man attending this party somehow.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I
maybe,
didn't ask his
been
profession.
hired.
Maybe he's a sex worker. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he meets a older lady at the bar. She seems well up for it. She's she goes, "Let's go over here in a bit," and yeah. But when he walks in, it's just like what looks like, I don't know, a museum. There's like a museum with things on plinths, and you wouldn't walk in there and go, "I'm gonna get laid in this room." You walk in there and go, "Sorry, what?"
Well, I mean, what Joey does is go price looking artifacts on plinths. I have a fiddle with that, I reckon.
Have a little fiddle with it. So it is the puzzle box, but it's already gone for a few stages at this point, isn't it? So obviously it starts off as the cube, but then it goes into like some sort of geometric shape, and then
Yeah.
eventually the final stage of it is where it looks like
The Sims looks like a little thing that goes above a Sim's head.
yeah, like what would you say that is? Like a little
Little diamond.
diamonds are forever. Yeah, looks a bit sharp.
Yeah,
A bit
he's
dangerous.
twisting it about and he's having a muck about with it. He's breathed on it, so he's making massive progress already. And then Mr. Voight comes in and surprises him. He goes, "Oh, let me know." He goes, "Oh no, keep fucking about with it if you like." And he goes, "All right, I will."
Keep
Twists it
fiddling about
about,
with that if you want, yeah.
gives him a little poke in the finger, and before he can even call Watchdog, tell you what
Well,
happens. But
it don't
chains turn up.
It don't just give him a poke in the finger. I think it pretty much just stabs him through the hand, doesn't
It
it?
does. It stabs him. Yeah,
Oh,
a
shit.
big sharp thing comes out the side. He's like,
You'd be annoyed, wouldn't you? You go, why didn't you tell me that, you bastard?
yeah.
Pull him out. Did it come sharp, do you think?
Comes ever so sharp. It does, and he goes, "Oh." He's
Ooh, well, I would swear, but I can't. Ooh,
I'm in
really hard.
polite company with this posh party, so he's there, like stuck in the blood. Saying, "Oh, get us a plaster, will you?" And Mr. Voight doesn't give him a plaster. He goes, "Ha, got you, Cenobites." And he
Yeah,
goes,
it's an
"What?"
elastoplast. Oh yeah, so he says, if I do this puzzle box, do I get a prize? And he goes, I do. He doesn't question him on that. Doesn't go,
Oh well,
what do you mean?
carry on and finish it then, shall I?
Karen's fucking about with it. So
It's
yeah,
like, no,
this is
sorry, then I
like
won't bother. Cheers.
another thing that Cenobites seem to do is like a little portal doorway opens. It looks like whenever you look into it, it looks like the labyrinth. There's a little worm on the wall or something, but it always looks like that when it opens. I go, that's a labyrinth in there. I ain't going in. And yeah, some chains come out. If another bit this was reminiscent of, I think I mentioned it in the trailer when he sort of grabs onto the plinth and he's getting like sucked off that way.
Slapped off into hell. Right.
Flipped off into hell. Reminded me of the bit when the Velociraptors attacked that bloke at the start of the first movie.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. Shooter!
Yeah.
Shooter!
Old Muldoon will be there shouting, but he doesn't get a chance to because he gets chained, and Voight kind of shouts up to the heavens, "Excuse us, I demand an audience."
I demand an audience with. Does he say Leviathan at this point? Because this is
the
this is
god.
the thing. I don't think Leviathan, in terms of this hell god, is mentioned in the first movie. Not specifically, at least. I might be incorrect. I think it's only Hellbound where we start to hear about that, and then obviously eventually see it. So in terms of the lore, in terms of the Hellraiser lore, they've gone straight in with the old Leviathan. And also, if this is the final configuration of it, we're led to believe he's obviously killed or sacrificed at least 4 or 5 people up to this point.
Yeah, he's been amongst it this whole time, just getting people.
And it seems like he's doing it, just hosting parties and going. At some point, if you see someone looking a bit lonely, send them on down. All right, send them on down my way. And if they don't turn up again later, don't ask any questions.
And his workers again. Do they have to be particularly good at puzzles? Nah.
Oh no!
If you've
Has
got
any experience doing puzzles,
someone who turns up at this party that looks like they'll fiddle with an unattended box, then send them. Send them in.
Have you got anyone here at this party who could open a tin of soup with the little ring pull thing? Do you reckon they could do that? Probably, yeah. They're ideal. Probably most of them, yeah. They'll be fine. They'll do it. It's as easy as that. And then it cuts to like 6 years later, which I was a bit like, what?
Took him ages.
So it's Riley and Matt, and obviously when you mentioned it's them getting it on, and when they come out, they go, we've got a load of Mexican food here ready for you. I've made you a quesadilla, but it sounded like you were getting
tea's ready. Been shouting you for ages. It's gonna be cold.
Shouting you for ages. Sounds like you're having a great time in there. What are you doing? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I asked if you.
Awkward.
I asked, I asked you. Like, I clearly said dinner's ready. You come in. I heard you say yes, so I plated up.
I heard you even say you're coming.
Yeah. So there's a skin on your soup.
Oh, fucking hell. There's a skin on your soup. Mexican soup.
Yeah, like
salsa verde.
Yeah, there's a skin on your salsa verde.
There's a skin on your salsa verde over here. You know, I know how much you ate that.
Your guac's all congealed.
Oh. And the guac. That's disgusting.
These refried beans have to be refried at this rate. It's been fucking ages.
These refried beans are gonna have to be refried. I'm still laughing about your guac's all congealed.
Yeah,
I told you I'm going to the doctor's in the morning.
So they're livid, but actually they're not. They're all right.
There's so many people living in this tiny flat as well. This cost of living crisis is hitting.
Is
hitting the US.
I've actually put this up here. The real hell of the cost of living and having to house share.
Oh, but her boyfriend's got a place. You know what I mean? So but then clearly Matt doesn't approve of the boyfriend. I guess it's because they met in the 12-step program, and they're thinking 2 addicts together recovering, probably not good for either of them. Again, probably a bit of a cliche outlook, but
I mean, no good. So it's okay. It's okay, Matt. So your sister's recovered, but this guy, piece of shit. I'd write him off immediately. Don't give him another chance.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah, exactly.
Although they're doing, maybe he was willing to give him that chance. They did offer to plate him up some Mexican, and he goes,
"Yeah,
no thanks. I've got to go." And they're like, "All right.
There's nothing more I ate than Mexican."
He goes,
"What?
"Oh, well,
Mexican food. All right, don't you dare."
Is that okay? That's the thing about first impressions, isn't it, mate? You only get to make one, so fuck you. I hate you now. I'm going to slag you off the second you're done. And he does, and he goes, "Oh, really? You're doing that?" So she basically just says, "Oh, she has a row with her brother," and then he tells this is maybe one of my favorite bits of the film, where she's having a row saying, "You've really got to get your life together. You need to start putting some money in for the rent, cost of living crisis, and all that." And then he tells his roommate off because they've turned the TV down.
Turn the TV down to listen.
Turn the telly down to listen to us rowing. They're like, "No, turn it back up."
Don't want to miss it. To be fair, do you? If there's an argument in the street, you want to hear it, as long as it's not going to a place of abuse or violence. If it's just a minor, disagreement that's really loud, absolutely fantastic to listen to.
So I'll tell you
put that TV on pause.
Yes. Yeah, no, I haven't turned it down. I've paused it. I watch the Cube later. Thanks.
Watch the Cube later. Foreshadowing.
Yes.
So not sure what happens after that. I think they leave, and that is when there's more.
She goes off out, goes to see a boyfriend who's just left. I'll go around yours then, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm leaving first. All right.
So she goes back round to see him, and he goes, "Oh, cool. Do you fancy going robbing?" She's like,
"Yeah. Do you fancy going on the rob?" He basically says, "Look, how would you feel if there was an opportunity to get a lovely bit of money in your pocket with little to no effort?" And he explains that he's been doing deliveries at this storage warehouse. He knows the code, so it's not going to be breaking in. We're just going to be entering. The breaking and entering bit, we're just entering. It's fine.
Entering. That's the least criminal part.
Yeah. And there's something in there. It's basically like a Russian doll of boxes that is in this storage warehouse. So yeah, they get. She doesn't seem to take much convincing. She seems to be unsure, but I guess she's at that point in life where she's a bit like, well, things aren't going so well. A little bit of money in my pocket, no questions asked.
Brother wants
life
some
works,
rent money.
Unfortunately.
Cost of living crisis. She wants some money.
Oh yeah, rent money. Oh yeah, that's it. Rent money. There's 19 of them living in one tiny little 2-bedroom place.
It's like the Bucket family.
So you got. It's like it's pretty loads of them. It's ridiculous.
Got the grandparent. They've got the 4 sets of grandparents in one bed.
They got the king size bed.
in the
top and tail.
middle of the living room, eating cabbage water every day. It's real bad. It's real bad for him.
What's that? Golden ticket straight out of bed.
The Hellraiser, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory crossover. Little
so yeah,
Oompa Loompas like Cenobites.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh, the Cenobites doing little songs. Oh.
You're going to hell. What do you get when you solve the configuration box? The chains come out and they take you to hell.
What do you get when you're wrapped up in chains? Lots of pleasure and a bit of pain. Yeah, what a time.
Pretty much no pleasure in this film, it seems.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not really. It's not
when you guzzle down sweets. So yeah, they go to this storage warehouse, peeing down with rain, and it's a bit of a disappointing thing, really, because first of all, they open this huge like big storage unit, then a storage container, then a safe. Now you'd see a safe and you go, well, that's it. I can't get into that. See you later. But no, for some reason, Riley just keeps smashing it with a sledgehammer, and breaks the mechanism off. Then they get in, and in there is a wooden box. And in there,
wooden box, some skeletons.
And in that wooden box, some skeletons lived. Yeah, it's not skeletons. It is tiny little box. And it's proper disappointing, isn't it? Because Trevor's proper like, whatever, innit? You can have that. Oh, how much is it gonna be worth? Don't know. We'll take it to a pawn shop. That pawn shop guy off the TV.
It's worth one rent. You can, you'll be able to cover
it's
that.
One rent token, all right? One rent token. And then when she goes home, like all wet, first of all, she makes a lot of noise. She's like taking her boots off, but you'd think she was trying to stomp on 100 cockroaches. That would annoy me.
That's always the way though, because didn't she have a little toddy to help her get through the nervousness of doing Robin?
Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, she has a little swig. This is the thing. She's a drug addict, but I don't know whether it's if she's gone through the 12-step program, if she's completely sober or she's just off the drugs. So I almost don't know. Is having a little swig is that already breaking?
Well, the brother does tell her off for being drunk, because she comes in and does drunk going in, trying to be extra quiet. Sneaking.
Even I was
over
like
the top tiptoeing.
Even I was like, he's overreacting a bit. Jesus.
Comes out, he goes, "You bloody drunk, are you?" She's like,
"You fucking what? You absolute fucking twat."
Yeah, he has a go. So she storms out. Well, actually, chucks her out, doesn't she? She goes, "Go on, off you fuck, go on."
Yeah, off you fuck. Middle of the night, pissing down. Get out. I don't care. I'm in a state of undress. I ain't chasing after you. Get yourself out there.
Isn't the brother's boyfriend? Is he outside? Is he punching a dart or something like that? Because he has a chat to her just before she leaves.
I can't remember actually.
She does proper running away from home anyway. She might as well have like a stick with a little handkerchief on the end.
Yeah,
tied up with a little bindle of clothes.
It looks like she's just gonna spend the night in her car, which it's got to be done sometimes. But then halfway through, she decides, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm gonna take some drugs.
Yeah, I'm gonna blast a few of these pills and then go to the playground and do a puzzle box.
Doesn't even mention what kind of drug she's taking. Is it like some sort of hallucinogen, or?
I mean, they look like Smints, to be honest. Little metal container little metal container that you keep in the car. They are like little breath mints.
12-step program, and you're keeping drugs in your car. Yeah. So I don't know if it was first of all, I was like, is she just on the Xanax or something, or is she on the harder stuff?
Oh, they're nondescript pills, aren't they? So it
feels like that. It feels like how Hollywood does a lot with, like, it's a severe drug addiction, and then it's like just some nondescript little white pills,
horrid drugs
that make her. She's out of it. She's taking it. She's out of it.
Yeah, look at her. Like, you see her, you'd be like, left turn, right turn, brick wall. Ah! Freaked out.
I feel like something that is horrible and grimy and scary and disgusting, like Hellraiser. Have there been any like heroin addicts in the Hellraiser movies?
And there's a point. I mean, there must have been. I've not seen all of them, but you know what? I've just seen an episode of the Midnight Club that has actual needle drug use, which A lot of people don't like needles. You could have
Yeah,
gone
I
for
was
that.
thinking that would have been suitable for this
Or
sort of
maybe
world.
is this one because Riley's our hero effectively? Do you just reckon they went for nondescript pills because that doesn't turn some of the audience against her? Maybe
Yeah,
it's
but I genuinely almost think that the having the lead actress is just someone struggling with addiction as well. I don't know. As I said, I felt like there were no surprises in that for me. It felt like a very easy route for this film to necessarily go down. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just depends what mood I'm in, you know. What Hellraiser this? Oh, she's a drug addict. Oh, come on, think of something else.
I mean, especially because of the way that the Cenobites work, could have tied in that maybe she's addicted to risky wanks or things like that. That could have fed into the whole
Strangle
pleasure
wanks.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole eroticism side of it was pretty much absent, apart from the fact that her and Trevor seem to enjoy themselves as anyone does. But that's kind of it. There's no like, it's almost like the Hellraiser franchise has this kind of weird, risky, kind of wrong attitude towards sex. So when you think about Julia and Frank, it was like extra marital. That's how you describe something that's
yeah.
having an affair, isn't
She
it?
had an affair, and then she escalated to bashing folk with hammers.
Yeah, she had an affair, but like it was such an obsession. It was an obsession of the flesh, if you like. Like they didn't love each other. They
Obsession
just like
almost.
they just like fucking each other. And obviously, when at Frank's choice, first opportunity, he killed her because he wanted, is it Kirsty? Kirsty
Yeah.
instead. So that's the thing. It's like an obsession of the flesh. Whereas this, like the sex side of it, the flesh side of it, the eroticism side of it feels like it's kind of like kind of there a bit in the background, but it's not front and center. And again, with the drug stuff, I felt like put this stuff front and center, so show the real gnarly side of these human
Yeah.
desires and
Chasing
human
chasing these
obsessions.
highs and the things that they want, these experiences. So you're right. But she takes these generic pills and then thinks the only way to do this is to sit on a roundabout at the park and do a puzzle
If it
while off
is
my meds.
if she is taking some sort of hallucinogen, I'd hate to be spinning around. That mess you right up.
I've had one beer too many, and I had to put my foot
Yeah,
out of bed onto the floor because it's spinning too much.
the steadier,
And you
where you're
know
like,
what? You know
am I
what?
at
My
sea?
bed my bed isn't turning around.
No.
Whereas in this, it is.
You know, it's a horrible combination of that, right? Spinny head like that. Also, ears ringing because of the old loud music.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like and spinny. Maybe like a bit of chili sauce from the kebab just on your bottom
yeah.
lip. Oh, yeah. You desperately need a glass of water because you know you're gonna feel rough in the morning, but you can't bring yourself to get up. It's bad times all round. Essentially, she's putting herself through all of those things for a laugh,
Yeah.
just
So
so
you
she
don't
could do
want
a little
that.
puzzle box.
And she does a little puzzle
Um,
box, but she's too quick for it. It's like doing the puzzle, and the puzzle spits out a little spike to try and get her, like it did the boy at the party earlier. But she's too quick for it. See, he moves out the way.
she's got ninja. What word am I thinking of?
Like ninja reflexes.
Reflexes. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
She's got. Oh,
I
and
guess
she's got ninja references. Oh yeah, she's great at being a ninja. I'll give it a reference. She was a
yeah,
great ninja for us for 10 years.
yeah, but she's
No.
got ninja reflexes as well, and it's pretty much the box like goes because fuck you, I've moved my hand out the way.
Yeah. See you later.
Unfortunately for her, the brother can't sleep. He's having a tell you what, he's having ever such obviously
At this
ever
point,
such hot and sticky night. He wakes up, he's covered in sweat. Good fucking hell.
Yeah.
Can't sleep, too
To
warm.
be fair though, he went straight back to sleep as soon as she left. I feel like I'd be if you just had a raging argument, it'd take you ages to get off to sleep. Also, Riley does start seeing the Cenobites, despite the fact that the blade didn't get her. It's almost like just because she's fiddling around with the box, they're like, we're going to show ourselves. And as she's spinning around on the thing, there's a couple of good shots here where you kind of like see the priestess, see Pinhead just briefly when she's on the little roundabout.
Sticking her head around the corner, just
Sticking around the roundabout. Have you ever seen videos of people on those little roundabouts, and then people get like a motorbike, put a back wheel up against it, and spin it around as fast as possible? Horrific. Could never end. It always ends exactly the way it should. Someone flying off.
someone
Superman.
horribly hurting themselves. Like whenever you get a
Yeah.
video of like adults at the playground when they're like on those little like those big things on the springs for
Oh
kids
yeah.
on.
It's-
Perfectly safe for someone of a child's weight to be on it. But basically, if you're an adult, it's either going to break or it's going to ricochet so hard that it like basically knocks your crotch through into a different time.
Yeah. Or a little kid walks by and then just you crush them as they walk past. So yeah, the Cenobites are like showing themselves, they're appearing, and I think don't they appear to her and sort of say, "Oh, you've done a bit of puzzle box. I know we didn't stab you, but you should choose another as a
Yeah, they basically
sacrifice."
say, "Oh, take maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe that's part of it. If you do it without getting stabbed, then you're the chosen one." Um, and they
Yeah, it's just a
say,
bit
"I'll tell
annoying,
you
isn't it?
what. I tell you what. So it's not going to be you." And then her heart disappears into like a void.
Oh yeah, that was quite a good little shot, wasn't it? That was kind of like there was like a circle on her chest, and it kind of like went
Yeah. And then
inwards.
the brother wakes up to go, "Oh, I'll tell you what. Ever so hot and sweaty now. I'm going to go out and look for my sister." And
Oh yeah, you had a lovely little sleep. Did you feel good about yourself? Just
well,
kicked right.
yeah, but it's not that I've woken up for. I've woken up because I'm just too hot. It's too hot in this house.
It's
Um,
too hot. I hate it. So yeah,
it's too
he
hot. She
goes
says,
he
"Oh,
goes.
they can't
Luckily,
find
the
it."
first place he looks, he finds her.
Yeah, I go to the
Which is
playground.
handy, isn't it? At the playground, he's like, she should definitely be at the playground. She loves it there. Um, finds her. She's passed out. He like wakes her up, and then there's like a random like toilet block just here at the
Well,
park.
yeah, first thing he has to do is nick his hand on the thing. Is what's this? Oh,
Oh
blooming
yeah,
hell!
that's right.
He
So he's
picks
like,
up.
"What's this bloody box here?" And then that box can't get enough for trying to stab people. No
Yeah,
matter what you do to it, to pick it up, look at it wrong, the little blade's coming out.
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
he goes,
shank
"Oh,
you.
I've got." So he goes, "Tell you what, I'll nip to the." Even though I've come immediately from a house, I'll nip into this toilet block to clean up, and then and
Horrible
then
old toilet block.
go home. And I
Uh,
was like, "Oh, is he
looks
gonna
like
get?"
looks like the toilet block from the Joker when he goes and starts turning into the Joker doing his little dance. Thought he was gonna start doing that, but
He
yeah.
doesn't. He doesn't actually see anything, does he? Does he see the priestess or any of the Cenobites in the mirror?
No, so I think he just looks. The blood starts bubbling in the sink, and then one of the like, little corridor opens up in the wall. The little labyrinth opens up, and then we cut back to Riley. She hears him scream, and she runs in to look for him. Where are you? You in this cubicle one? No. Oh, you must be in cubicle two. Nope.
In that
Oh,
case, very
cubicle
similar
three then.
to no, not anyway. He's been slurped off, hasn't he?
Absolutely vanished. Absolutely slurped right off. And then they get the police involved. I think they get the police involved.
They
Yeah,
do
and
and the
obviously
police
they
go, "All
just
right,
clearly fit.
take us then, have you? Take us then, have you?" And they're like, "Oh, well, yes, but
What have you taken? I've taken 3 ibuprofen. You're only supposed to take 2. All right, hands up. All right,
oh yeah,
hands
ever
up.
so bad for your stomach. You'll get an ulcer if you're not careful. You hope you didn't take them on an empty stomach, did you? Because you're not meant to. Oh, I
No,
did
no, it's all right.
actually.
I had a steak bake earlier. Don't you worry about it.
All right then. All right, I'll let you off with a warning this time,
But
but
they obviously
I'm not
think
gonna help.
she's
I'm not gonna help find your brother though. Soz.
yeah, that's pretty much it. They think she's wrong, and I think like the boyfriend of Matt, and then they kind of want to help, but they're also like not listening to all of her stuff that she's saying about the box and the yeah, all of
Yeah,
those
she's oh,
things.
it's a haunted box. There's horrible ghoulies in that. They've probably taken him. Actually,
Yeah,
they
because
were
they
not
say, oh,
interested.
he went into the toilet cubicle, but then he didn't come out. And then Colin's a bit like, oh yeah, but you said you were in and out of it, so clearly you might have come out and you didn't see it. So they're obviously like he's somewhere, but where is he? We're gonna have to find him. And again, I like some of the stuff where the investigation nature, and I think we mentioned that last week when we were talking about Smile and the stuff I kind of liked from The Ring, which is like, okay, let's get down to it now. Let's go and visit some people. Let's go and start to get an understanding of what this is and the history of it. And I can't remember why, but it's when they go and track down Serena Maneka,
That's
who was
before
the
they do
older
that
woman
though.
at the start.
First thing,
Okay.
first thing she does is goes around to a boyfriend's house and they have classic. What I mean, I don't know if you've ever had Brother Go Missing. Then
Classic. My boyfriend's gone missing sex.
yeah, they just
Nothing gets me in the mood more than a close family member vanishing into the night. And you know what? I got to go and sort myself out before I go and
Yeah.
start trying to find out
Yeah,
if he's
so
okay.
there's been a crisis. Do you mind if we have some quite slow, deliberate sex, please, so I can just
Slow and deliberate.
focus on this problem at hand, which is going to be
Oh
solving
yeah.
this mystery. I mean, it is a little bit interrupted because while they're having slow, deliberate sex, she sees old the Chatterer for a second. He's like,
Oh
"Way!"
yeah.
Stop it.
Go on, give him one for me, son.
The Chatterer's like, lads, no, the Chatterer.
Chatterer, for God's sake. No, the Chatterer. And how do
Not
they realize
appropriate.
that they've got to go and track down Serena Maneka?
I don't recall how they do it. They do just go there and see her, right?
Don't they
She
try,
didn't.
maybe they do a bit of digging into who the box potentially belonged to. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
and they go and see Serena, and unfortunately, she's poorly right now. She's punched too many darts in a time.
So she is Voight. So that Roland Voight, the guy from the start. She's his former lawyer, and now she's in like some sort of, where is she?
Like in a hospice, I guess, because she's
In like a hospice, end of life hospice.
she's got
she's
got stage 4 lung poorly, is what she is.
She's got like a canister to help her breathe, like an oxygen
canister. She's been see Terrifier. It's freaking done for her.
Are you all right? I was absolutely fine, but then I want to watch Terrifier 2. Well, actually, I didn't. I want to watch Top Gun Maverick, but it was in the screen next to Terrifier 2. And, now I can't breathe. Now I can't breathe good.
Yeah, so she's been absolutely sucked shit after watching Terrifier 2. So now she's not long for this world. So just to make matters worse, they have a bit of a row about it. And then they sort of wrestle over the box a little bit. You'll never guess what happens while they're sort of
It's annoying, isn't it? Because she puts it on the table, and then she's like, "I'm going to take this box because no one else can be mucked about by it. All right, it's dangerous. You got to give it here, and then it stabs her.
It stabs her, and she goes, "Oh fuck's sake! Oh well, I'm going then. All right, bye." And
it's
then
like a little rabid dog or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'll look after the rabid dog. It'll be fine. It won't bite me. I'm good with dogs. All right. Ah, bit me. Back it out.
Yeah, so you've been
bit. There.
The box has bit her as well. And yeah, they leave. It cuts to that evening, and then this is where we get full on Cenobites. We get Beetle, we get Wheezy, we get
Dopey.
Yeah, we get Stingray, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So we get a good look at them.
Stingray has like got a weird flap of skin on her head, kind of fashioned into, what guy could you say? Like a hood.
Yeah, it's a bit like a hood.
Yeah, all of their bodies are kind of like flayed skin. They've all got like some sort of piercings or chains wrapped around them. Almost reminded me of, when people get like suspended from the ceiling by hooks in their back.
Yeah,
that's a thing that people do for a laugh, don't they? It's not like they're gaining anything from it. I think it's called. I think it's just called like suspension, body suspension or something like that.
Reminds the hook ceiling club.
Yeah, what are you doing tonight? I'm just gonna hang from some hooks in the ceiling. Oh yeah, yeah. Come along if you want.
Doing some meat hooking. All right, just like Hellraiser, you know how it is.
Linked to fish hooking.
Linked to pleasure. All right, fair enough. Let's do it.
So there's a lot of these looks. Obviously, Beetle, the one with the jaw missing and kind of got like weird little shoulder pads. The one behind you. Does the lung? Yeah, the lung one turns up because it kind of just wanders and kind of looks like a xenomorph. Wanders into the room and she kind of like sneaks past it, like, "Oh, good, I'll see you later."
It stealths him, like creeps fast.
Runs away, and then she gets surrounded by them, doesn't she?
Yeah, and is it Stingray or is it Pinhead that goes, "Yeah, I got something for you," and whips one of the pins out of Beetle's eye? Got a little tear duct. Got a little, because these pins, there's been a glow up here. It's not like this isn't like Dan Jewson's, like the pins that they had in the old days. These are like ornate your nan's house in a pin cushion pins.
Like it looks like a little pearl, doesn't it?
Lovely mother of pearl heads.
Yeah. So they're obviously like quite decorative as well as being functional.
Ever so sharp.
Ever so sharp. Yeah, and I think where did she stick it in the old lady? Older lady, not old.
But she get her cheek. Yeah, maybe through a cheek. It's not through the throat. We get that later. Yeah, she sticks it in and she goes, Oh wow! Because yeah, that's what we do with the Cenobites.
Oh, everybody come sharp. Um, yeah, and then it moves fairly swiftly on to Riley finding Voight's like abandoned mansion, which is like, yeah, a little bit like the house from, I guess, 13 Ghosts, where it's big and angular. And
Yeah, we have
it,
like we have like a little bit of a run through where they talk about, she has another connection with the family. So we want to work together, the boyfriend and the flatmate, and talks to a boyfriend who doesn't, says, "Oh, you don't believe me." So she ends up kind of going alone to begin with.
well, essentially, she does go alone, doesn't she? But
Yeah.
she doesn't know they're coming
Yeah.
after her as well.
In the first instance, she kind of goes along on her own, right?
And then yeah, and then she managed to get the power on, and she finds the classic thing. You need this not just in horror movies. You need it in games as well. Usually towards the end of the game. That's always good when you want to find out what's been going on the old time. It's lore room.
No, the Resident Evil file
Resident Evil
room.
Village file room, which is like
Oh, you met this person here.
sketchbooks, scrapbooks, things
A list
things
of
on the wall.
the list of all the different configurations it can go into.
Yeah,
And there's
because I
like,
feel like with a lot of this stuff, if you were living it and you were really experiencing it, you probably wouldn't write it down because you'd just be like, "Oh, what?" And then this happens. Oh God, I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy with the pleasures and pains and all this power that could potentially be mine. Get your because it's like all drawn in like
hand drawn sketches. Yeah.
in like charcoal as well. Like he's nipped down to the local art supply store and gone, you haven't got any charcoal in, have you? Yeah, I've got some charcoal in actually. Yeah.
You'll
Why?
want
What
quite
are
a
you
heavy
doing?
grade paper if you're going to write on that. Oh yeah, have you got like a parchment? I can do. Yeah,
Have you
absolutely.
got like an ancient parchment so that like whatever I draw or write is gonna look like timeless, essentially? Yeah, yeah, it's fine. What are you doing? You ain't doing some Cenobite stuff, are you?
Oh, a
I
bit.
am actually. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. A little bit of Cenobite bits
Oh,
and bobs.
how many configurations have you got to? Well, got the whole set.
Remember with the charcoal, be careful when you're doing it. Don't smudge it with your arm straight away. Let it dry. Bit of hairspray. Or
Oh,
this you got this
that'll fix it. Yeah.
no, fix it. Make sure you do that. It'll
Tell
make
you
the
what,
paper corners of the paper curl in a bit, but it's fine.
I tell you what, Ben. I think this is probably my biggest issue with if I was in the Hellraiser universe. Left-handed, aren't I? Charcoal drawing for someone like me is a nightmare. I smudge it with my
Yeah.
arm. Go back across. Ever so difficult.
This is just the lore room, but it's also the film's chance to again, I always forget this word. You're gonna have to fill me
Do
in again.
some lovely exposition and do Chekhov's
Exposition.
and do some
How
lovely
can I make
Chekhov's
that word stick in
configurations.
how can I make that word stick in my head? You need exposition. It's like the position of something. It used to be here, but we're making it go here. It's the X position. There we
Yeah,
go.
it's like
I'll
X marks
remember
the
it.
spot on a treasure map. So it's the treasure map for the future. It's the exposition,
I like it. I'm not gonna remember it.
showing you where you're going to go. So yeah, lovely
So it's
exposition room.
exposition room, which is just like filling in the blanks, but also like films like this, they tend to go with we can't expect everybody to be familiar with the mythology of all this stuff. It's not just going to be Hellraiser fans who watch this, because it's going to be brand new people to the franchise. This is going to be the first Hellraiser movie they see, so we need to kind of like hold their hand and show them all these things about the
It's an excellent exposition room because not only have you got all those pictures, it's almost like it's a puzzle box she's doing. She's gone on game FAQs, game facts, and gone right. And there's she's printed
oh
off
yeah,
reams of paper that show you how you do it. So here's all the puzzle things. This is what you want to do. Here's all the
it's
research
amazing.
that I've done over the time.
So it's basically like you've got to kill 5 people in order for it to. But it's weird because it almost suggests that okay, if that's the case, then Roland Voigt did manage to complete his task. He did manage to essentially get the platinum trophy in terms of
Yeah, he's got the grandest achievement, and she
he did it.
sees her.
Here, go on. Sees what?
Oh, sorry, I lost you for just a second there. You're back now. You've
I'm back.
unfrozen.
I'm unfrozen.
Um, Yeah, so you saying that Voight achieved it? At this point, we indicate that he must have got that audience with the god, right? Because he's not amongst it at the minute.
Not amongst it, no. So he's been slurped off up into or down into Leviathan's
into the
hell.
into the Sims. Like he's a
And
Sim.
I kept thinking maybe he's gonna turn up as like now he's the big bad, you know. He's done the business. He solved the box. He killed 5 people. Now he's some sort of maybe not Cenobite, but like some sort of thing like that.
Yeah, like the Doctor from Hellraiser 2, who gets turned
Oh yeah.
into the Cenobite that's voice sounds like he's shouting into a fan all the time.
Yeah. That guy.
He's like Doctor
Yeah.
Octopus. But he's
He
got
he
different arms that you can
he
do.
goes up the ranks so quickly. If I was a Cenobite, I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, he's just become one. And he's already
Oh, I
becoming like the
see.
big bad.
I see an experienced hire, is it? Hey, been headhunting, have you? All right, Julia.
Just doesn't seem fair, does it?
Been here 10 minutes. Um, yeah, but that's not what happens with him. Right now, Riley sees a vision of her brother. He's just there in his normal clothes. He's still got a bloody t-shirt on. And they say, "Oh, is that really you?" And he's like, "Do you want it to be?" I'd be suspicious of it. No, clearly you're Pinhead.
Do
Simple
you want it
yes
to
or
be? Yeah, yeah, I do actually.
simple yes or no, actually, because that sounds immediately like this is a trick. No, he rumbled.
It
Soz.
does. It really does.
You do that every time. Like, is that really you? Do you want it to? That is the Hellraiser version of how long have you been standing there? Long enough. Always.
Long enough. I heard absolutely
I
everything.
had absolutely
Okay.
everything. But she's saved from that because there's a road trip going along, and everyone's everyone has arrived. The whole gang is there. There's like, come on, we gotta.
Oh wait, she does see that Matt's been like flayed. She does hug him, doesn't she? And then she
Oh yeah,
realizes
that's
that he's
right.
all
He's all skeleton.
his back's all open and it's all like raspberry jammed. Is that
Yeah,
right? Or is he just skeleton?
he's been
He's
gunned.
skeletoned.
Yeah, they pulls his skin off, doesn't it? It's like, oh no, you're a
Oh
skeleton
bloody
now.
hell! You're a skeleton. And this is when Trevor, Colin, and Nora arrive to take Riley home. I've disrespected Nora because she was there from the start, but when she turned up at this point, I was like, mention who she is then, because I don't know who that is at all. I haven't seen her once in this film. And then I think it was maybe about when she was just about to die. I was like, oh yes, there's the flatmate one day. Yeah, silly me.
Yeah.
Um,
They all split up and run around the house. And then do we meet Voight at this point? Does he turn up, or is this a bit later that he comes back?
so there's a bit when Trevor is alone in a room, and the rest of them are off like looking for Riley. Maybe I think they're looking for Riley,
Looking for clues.
looking for something, looking for
They've been
clues.
they've been split up, haven't they? Because the fuses have all gone and some of the doors have locked. They've been out
Classic,
on Haunted
classic.
Hill.
I like it. I like it. Everyone, well, you need to get these fuses, combine them, put them into the wall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then all of us stand at different switches and switch it on at the same
you've
time.
got to
Teamwork.
flick the right switches to make sure the power balance hits in that little green zone.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. That's great. Ideal.
While
Can't
they're
get any
working
better
that
than
up,
that.
they're split up, and you're right.
He
Colin,
just sneaks out, didn't he? So we did see Roland in the wall earlier. He's like in the wall looking out.
yeah,
Looks a bit like in Big Brother, in the UK series of Big Brother. Probably not just a UK series. The cameramen were like behind the windows, weren't they, looking in?
yeah,
And it kind of reminded me of that. Like, there's a bloke back there. I can see him. I can see you, mate. I can see what's on your head. You twat. Looks a bit like that. He comes out to talk to Trevor, but he's got some sort of weird, like mechanical, almost looks like something from Hellboy,
yeah,
like in his body, like through his, to the point where you're like, how's he alive? If it's like through his chest.
yeah. He's. I guess did he ask? No, he asked for its sensation, didn't he? We find that out later. So he's got something
Give me the
all.
new sensation. Have you ever had a 1.2 liter engine through your chest?
Yeah.
Oh, I never have actually. I never have. No, no, have it.
So he's got a
enjoy that.
big engine through his chest, and kind of is it like some of his veins, or is it his guts? He's got something wound up in there anyway. He's ever
Yeah,
so caught in the mechanism
because it gets
and
twisted
basically
It's twisted a few times, and he's like in agony, isn't he?
Every so often, basically, just as he's like trying to make a point or something, it'll twist as going to I've pierced me foot on a spike every time.
Pinhead! I pitched my foot on a spike! Hellraiser!
Yeah, he's like
it's absolute agony. It's like that thing. Have you ever had this? You might not have had this thing, Andy, and I feel like bringing it up on a podcast is probably going to make me sound very strange. But have you ever had that thing where you just get a random sharp pain in your bottom, in your anal area? And it's not just me. I've spoken to people about it before.
You've done your research.
I like to call it the anal stab, but other people I know have called it different things. It might happen sometimes when you're driving. It's just a sudden sharp pain in your arse, and I've even Googled it to see what it is, and it's sort of like a muscle spasm in your sphincter, and it just happens randomly. There's no real pattern to it. Probably happens 3 or 4 times a year to me. I'll just be driving, and then it'll just go, ah! And that's it. It's over.
I can honestly say I've never experienced it. I mean, I have other random pains, maybe in many ways differently concerning. Like sometimes I've been around and it's like, not even like it's like a stitch, but it isn't. It's kind of like in just a random part of your chest or like not your heart. I've never heard of heart attack.
And you think it's the end.
My lung has just collapsed. What's happening? It's almost like at some points I'll have done something and it feels like, and it isn't physically possible, but this is the only description I have. It's like you've done a breath, and when breathing out, your lung has got caught between 2 of your ribs, and it's like, what's happening? It feels like he's got that anyway.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. This is called proctalgia. It's a pain due to the spasm of the pelvic floor muscles. The muscles of the anal sphincter cause severe stabbing pain like a knife sticking into the rectum that lasts for a few seconds. It's a thing. It's on musclehealth.org. Anyway, that's kind of the pain he looks like he's experiencing. I've had it. There's the last moment I'll speak about it, because I've just had it in work once. I was just in work when I used to work in an office, and just out of nowhere I went, ow! and everyone was like, what the hell? And I couldn't really say what it actually was, so I just went, oh, I don't know. I just had a weird sort of pain in my leg.
In my mind. Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, so he has an anal stab.
That's really when you did the hours where your face went incredibly flat, like a stingray.
Was that?
Yeah.
I'm the stingray now. Anyway, I'm surprised though. I have 253 episodes. I've never ever discussed anal stab.
The real life horrors that is anal stab.
When I really get to know people, it's something I always bring up.
No, I can.
It's like when you ask people whether they wipe standing or sitting. Now we could get into that, but it will last us all day long.
Yeah, big topic. Probably need to have a special for that. But
yeah,
so basically he's got this thing that comes ever so sharp every so often, but he's and there's clearly a conspiracy going on here, because he's gone,
yeah,
but give her the box, did you? And he goes, I did give her the box. I didn't think this was going to happen.
I didn't know what the box bloody did. So really, here we don't need an exposition room. We already understand that Roland has somehow hired Trevor to somehow manipulate someone. Probably not Riley specifically.
Thought a junkie would be easy to get him to do the box. Because yeah, supposed to be, but didn't know she had ninja references.
I was playing the long game. Ninja references. I got a list of her ninja references here, right? From everybody. Shinobi has sent one in. All right, it's unbelievable. Yeah. But he's done the classic. Yeah, I try to get close to her and get her to open the box and become a victim. I've only got to fall in love with her, and they go, "Oh, for God's sake, why?"
Yeah, he's livid, and he goes, "Oh, fair enough. Just kill them all off for you." And he goes, "All right, we'll work on it." And then in the process, I looked away for a second. Maybe I think
he goes back in. I think he goes back into the wall.
He hides up. But how does Nora get it? Because it feels like the box just gets her in the back.
I think it's him. I think somehow he manages to sneak into the room where Riley is, take the box while she's distracted, get into the walls. Then Nora is accidentally gets locked in the walls somehow. Trevor's trying to get her out, and then he runs up behind her and just stabs it in her back. And it almost looks like a Star of David type thing at the moment now, doesn't it? It's like a star, and he stabs it right in her back. And she's in agony, falls down, collapses, and then like, right, we'll get her to hospital. She was stabbed in the back by the configuration box.
Got a bommy knocker in your back. So let's get you to the hospital.
Pulls it out though. Colin yanks it out. Classic.
Yeah, and they get her in the van. It's not going very well. They're kind of lost.
Oh yeah, this is terrible. This is like the last thing you want in a high pressure scenario is somebody in the passenger seat yelling at you, telling you that you
backseat driving. It's down there.
It's down there. Turn right back there. All the roads look the same. And then this is a pretty cool little sequence, isn't it? Inside the van. So Nora is like bleeding out, and she's like collapsed in the back of the van. And suddenly, when she looks up, the like back of the van and where everybody else is sat in the van, like elongates, spreads out into a really long, creepy, dark corridor, and then she gets transported to the
hell sewer.
The hell sewer. And this is where all of the Cenobites come out to really give her the what for. You've got Chatterer, and then the face one, who's called the Mask, I think. Somebody stop him. And so he's got like it's like a sort of weird circular framing, and his like face is stretched across it. I wonder what he did in his human life.
PRTY. This is what he did.
PRTY. He was two-faced, right? That's what he did. He wore a mask to a social mask, to really cover up his true feelings for. And then in death, we're gonna make him wear an actual mask.
That'll teach him.
That'll teach him. We'll saw him. And this is where Pinhead, or the priest, gets to do her big. What do you pray for? Sort of thing. Again, with all these sort of religious connotations that go alongside it. And then flays her with the chains. Flays the living shite out of her.
Yeah, they give her some chains. They poke the needle through her throat.
Oh, yeah.
You see it go through.
You see it inside, don't you, as well? Yeah.
While she's screaming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you see her throat as well. Her little voice muscles.
Yeah. This is quite a drawn out bit. And then just as it comes to a close, Riley, they finish arguing about directions. She looks out the back and says, "Blimmin' hell, what's going on back there?"
Is she just gone? Is that what's happening?
It just vanishes away. And just see her like thrashing about.
Yeah, something like that. Bloody hell.
So they stop the van.
I think they crashed the van.
Yes.
Crash the van. They have to walk back to the mansion. Oh, bloody hell. The mansion we're trying to escape, we have to walk back to.
She has a chat with Pinhead, comes out and goes, Pinhead goes, "Right, only two more." She's like, "What? Yeah, two more. Do you a wish?"
Yeah.
She says it more dramatic than that. She goes, two more of these. You can have a wish out of us if you want.
It's like, I've been nothing to do with these people getting stabbed. Nothing to do with me. I might have solved the puzzle box initially, but Jesus. So yes, they keep saying sacrifice two more souls to the last two configurations, or we'll take you. So it's you or them, and you have to make the decision. There's no bargaining with me here. All right. I'm not gonna
bargain with you. Just there's no way you, Riley, are gonna find a loophole to this. Certainly not in a few seconds' time. There's honestly, no. I've been at this a long time, Pinhead. I've been at this for ages. There's no way around it. You do exactly what I say. Either you'll go into hell, or couple of your mates will be sacrificed. There is nothing that you can.
No,
you're not the first person that's messed with this box. I'll clarify for you. Hundreds of people who open this. I get them every time. There's no way.
Hundreds of them have. Jesus,
there's no way the box has got a taste for you. There's no way that you're going to be that there's any way around this. So don't even think of trying it. Try run off if you want. We're going to send the Cenobites after you. All right. So they run off, and Chatterer comes after them. They get the gate open. They put the box through. They climb over. Popeye. Um, and
just throw a bloody can of spinach at him, mate. He'll love that.
and then I'll make him stronger though. Be careful.
Oh yeah, shit.
He walks past Colin because obviously the box hasn't got a read on him. So
Oh yeah,
and
classic.
he traps
I feel like
Riley and Trevor
we've seen
behind
this
the
shot
gate.
before of somebody pushing a gate or a door open and them sort of hiding behind a gap in it. I feel like we've seen that before in something. I'm not sure what, but definitely a horror sort of thing.
Yeah, and the trap behind he's there and he's having a nibble on Trevor at this point. He's biting him on the hand, biting him on the arm, biting his wrist
Yeah.
out, getting out those chewy licorice veins. He's like,
Oh,
be quite hard actually with no. It'd be quite hard with no lips, or would it be easier because you got nothing in the way?
I reckon harder.
You've got to really,
Harder
got to really get into it. So he's biting away at Trevor's thing, and for a moment I thought at this point, no, Riley's going to crack and she's going to stick Trevor, but she doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of setting it up for that, wasn't it? And I guess they can't really do that at this stage because we need the reveal that he's like double crossed her in a way. So if she just sticks him and the Cenobites get him, it kind of takes away that potential for there to be a yeah.
But what she does do is she sticks Chatterer through the gate. He just explodes, doesn't he?
He gets chained, and I'm almost like, hang on a minute, that's not right, because in a way, whatever he was in or she in the human form, they've obviously already been got by the Cenobites. Why would a Cenobite want to get its own Cenobite? Because surely its goal is to turn humans into Cenobites or trap their souls in hell.
I guess rules are rules.
Yeah, but it seems like shite.
But
it seems like one of those moments where the film was almost going, you didn't bloody see that coming, did you? And you go, hang on a minute, what? That don't make sense, is it?
Classic Air Bud rules, though. There isn't anything in the rules that say a dog can't be on the basketball team.
That's true.
So
the rules are there are no rules.
It just basically says whoever you stab with it, they get got by the Cenobites. Because we didn't. Someone in hell is redrafting that rule and say right addendum 31C. If you stab a Cenobite, it doesn't count, but it's going to take time to get that through.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, of course.
The capital of hell may be called Pandemonium, Ben, but despite that name, they have got a proper course of processes that they do follow. They're big on the paperwork in hell.
They've got HR department. They've got
process they have to follow.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's pandemonium by name, certainly not by nature. They've got to make sure they run a tight ship. So so when they stab Chatterer,
that's understandable.
Actually, if you're a Cenobite, maybe you really like stuff like chains. Like maybe he should have been drowned in puppies or something like that.
Yeah, but it just you don't want to change it, rip you into bits. Nobody wants that.
Oh, maybe he obviously doesn't. If I would have thought being a Cenobite and that was the stuff he liked, it would have been like, you got to eat all this bloody candy floss. They'd be like, no,
I've got sensitive teeth. You can already see that already.
Eat this
exposed to the elements.
Big bowl of ice cream. He's like,
oh, it's bloody disgusting. Yeah,
I don't even like this flavor, banoffee. Oh, yuck.
Wow.
But no, he just gets chained. They go route one on that one.
Just gets chained off, yeah.
And that gives Riley an idea. She's like, aha, right. So loopholes. I can get him in this. So let's get in the house. They all gather up and they basically go, okay, what we'll do is they only need how many's he got left? Was it 3 and now they need 2? Or is it just 1 left now?
I think it's just 1 they need to get now, yeah. And the plan is essentially to lure a Cenobite in. I guess any of them. They don't necessarily feel like
get any of them in. I'll cut them, and jobs are good. We'll get them.
Jobs are good, and that's it. We'll beat them at their own game. You know, they'll think, oh, we've got them. We've got them. No, yeah, seems a bit. It almost seems like Cenobites are the kind of creatures as well, or kind of supernatural force that could just rewrite the rules on a whim. Not like they'll go, oh bloody hell, you've done me in. You have. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
I feel like no matter what would happen, they go, "Oh yeah, all right." I don't think so.
Yeah, we're gonna get you anyway. But maybe who knows? They're bound by a certain set of rules, and yeah, they're planning for it. But it all goes wrong. they let one in. It's a bit quick, and then she loses the
Yeah,
box.
it's that one. It's the ass fix one.
This
Who
one
just
here.
starts suddenly decided it can sprint.
Yeah, asphyxia like sprints across. She does get locked. He gets stuck in the door, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of like closes the gate just a little bit, and gets trapped in there, which
Yeah,
is
so it's stuck, but she's also dropped the box elsewhere. The whole team is split up again,
she
and
needs to
this
keep
is where
that
we get.
box on her person at all times, or at least keep an eye on it, because my God.
But she doesn't. She butterfingers it. Um, Voight comes and gets it, and he sticks poor old Colin with it.
Yeah, poor old Colin. He didn't see it coming at all, did he? Voight. Who do you think he is, Voight? This reminds me of
Yeah,
John Voight of Anaconda fame, Angelina Jolie's dad fame, and right now, just a bit of a right wing nut job. Mr. Mr. John Voight.
yeah, and this time he's not doing himself any favors, chopping poor Colin, who's probably the most innocent of all
Yeah,
of our characters, with a
yeah.
with the lament configuration. Gives him a
And this is when Voight basically does his big sort of villain speech where he says like, "Oh, I sought new pleasurable sensations. I
yeah,
completed all of my sacrifices, but my reward was this horrible, great
yeah. He chose sensation.
contraption."
They gave him this contraption, which means it only hurts you ever so often, so you can never get used to it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think he's just in like constant pain. It comes sharp in different ways all the
Yeah,
time.
not constant. It always changes a little bit. So it's like, because if it just did it all the time,
Yeah,
you get used to it. But it
well
stops.
annoying.
It.
It's not something you can just wander down to the local emergency room with either. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it out because
No,
he's got a great big hole in his body, and they're like, "You should be dead," but no, he's obviously being kept
he's
alive by
yeah, he
the.
can be kept alive by this, but it's gonna hurt for ages and never get any better. So he thinks, oh, I've been ripped off with this.
Yeah. So now, when he completes the final configuration this time, trapping the Cenobites, all he wants to do now is for this gift, for him to be freed of this gift
Yeah,
by the Leviathan.
he wants it.
Um,
He wants to return it. And we'll get
I want to
and
return it. Yeah. Have you got your receipt?
well,
Well, this is all you
to be
need.
to be fair, this is actually maybe I misspoke when I said that Jamie Clayton's version of Pinhead doesn't get to have the kind of speak to the manager energy. She is the manager in this case, because
Yeah.
when she has a conversation with Voight in a little while, and I tell you what, we'll come to it. We're starting to wrap up now. So the betrayal is now clear. She goes, Riley's like, Trevor, you bloody betrayed us. And it's like, oh yeah, sorry, but I do like you.
I do like it, but I do hate Mexican food, and that was the reason why I went through with it. Initially, I was like, well, if they offer me something else, a bit of Thai, I might be all right. Mexican food, get out.
Yeah,
Betrayed.
get out. You're going to be betrayed. And so now he seems against Voight cutting Colin. He's like, he didn't have to do that. He's like, oh, did though. Um, so it's all coming to head. The team have been split up. They're all being. They open the doors. That's when she gets the plan. She basically goes, right, none of this stalemate business.
Yeah.
Because she
Let all the Cenobites out.
doesn't want Colin to be got by the Cenobites, so she basically undoes the doors and they all run off in different directions. Pinhead confronts Voight.
Yeah.
Asphyxia chases her and catches her in some wires. They've
Yeah.
all been captured to various degrees. But what she manages to do is stab Trevor. He goes, "What are you doing?" She confronts him and he goes, "Oh, don't stab us. I do love you." Like in this thing, and she goes, they sort of tussle about, and then he gets stabbed by it. She's got him. She's made a decision, and
That's the decision made. Yes, that's the final
it
one,
all kind of
essentially, isn't it?
turns around that he gets slurped off down a well that just opens up, and he tumbles off down there. She is released because it's Asphyxia and Stingray have cornered her, and she goes, "Oh, but you said I picked someone else." I mean, yeah, it's true. He did say that. Oh, there you go, chosen him. Then she goes, "Ah, fair play." They take him.
Fair shout is what she says.
Yeah, she goes, "Oh,
Fair
all right,
shout.
job's a good one." Meanwhile, Pinhead has a managerial conversation with Voight, and he goes, "Um, I don't want this gift anymore." He says, "Oh, we
Returns.
can't do
I don't
returns."
want. I don't want his gift anymore. I've had a guts full.
Yeah, guts
I
and
signed up
guts
for.
and the guts out and the guts back in, the guts twisted around this machine. And she goes, "Well, we can't do any returns because you've obviously taken it out of its original packaging. It's after that return period. As a gesture of goodwill, we will let you exchange it, store credit, something of equal value. But I'm afraid if you choose something of lesser value, I cannot put what's left
No,
over on a gift card or anything like that. You've got to use it now."
no, that's true.
So what?
Cenobites gift card.
And he
On what?
goes,
So what?
"You go on."
Apparently the thing that is with the same monetary value is just a massive chain, almost like a grab, almost like a grabbing machine
The
from the
claw.
toy store. The claw, that claw comes down, grabs him, slips
Yeah,
him off, takes him away.
yeah. It gets better first. Like it takes the big machine out of him, and his chest heals up, and he goes, "Oh well, all's well that ends well, I guess." And then he gets slurped off up into the sky. Big
So
ID4 Independence Day Leviathan appears above the house,
yeah, big
and he
old
gets
scary Leviathan
yanked
slips him
off into
off.
the sky. Yeah.
Mm. And then doesn't I think Pinhead and the
Pinhead then
priestess.
turns up to have a chat with Riley and says, "All right
Yeah,
then, what present do you want? You want your brother back, obviously. That's
yeah,
the
that's
gift
obviously. I
of
ain't got. I haven't actually got anything else lined up for you.
that's
There's a
what that's
speed. There's a speedboat in storage somewhere that you could possibly have,
you want.
but
So
you probably want your brother.
you want resurrection, right? You sorry, here's me talking. You've read the charcoal drawings in the file room, right? She goes, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're familiar with the way the prizes work. You want your brother to come back to life. And said that, nah, actually, I reckon you're going to jip me on this. You're going to give me
Yeah,
a,
you're gonna screw me over.
you're going to give me a shit prize. And she goes, oh well, um, if if you want, you can live with the suffering you've caused. You'll think about it every day. It'll be proper shit. You'll suffer in that way. So I'm still happy actually because you'll suffer in that way. And she goes, yeah, actually, I just want you to piss off. I don't want any presents out of you. And he goes, you've chosen the lament configuration, which actually equals life. So good on you, bye. And then
Yeah,
they go.
life of guilt of your actions. They
And
leave. I thought it's quite nice that Colin survived because he seemed odds on to be someone who was possibly killed.
yeah,
Wasn't like a main character in a way, but um, they both leave. And then we see Voight in hell being turned into a brand new Cenobite who they like rip his cheek skin off like fruit winders
yeah.
and stretch it across something else.
They make him fruit winders, and
They turn him into fruit winders, yeah.
yeah, and they make his crotch area into a nice tasteful skirt, so they haven't got to have any penis on screen when they
No,
scroll out a
I reckon
little
they
bit.
just lop that off. I reckon that's the first thing they do. They go, get it off.
Yep.
No need for that.
Yeah,
Lop that
come on.
off. Sling it in the big,
Keep
sling it in the big bucket of penises over there,
keep this a
and move
15,
on.
shall we? Let's not have exposed genitalia here.
Yeah, come on. There's no need for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they've all got tasteful kind of flesh
This is
pants, haven't they?
This is a 15, and Smile was an 18. Madness.
Yeah, we
Madness
don't want.
indeed.
Also, they don't want any bits and giblets about in here in hell. Very,
Bits
very, very prudish. I guess
and
they are related.
giblets.
I guess they are related to a religion. So they probably got an opinion on that.
There we go. So that is that. That is Hellraiser. That is David Bruckner's Hellraiser. I guess we got to do some name game. I'm sure we did do name game all that time ago when we covered the original Hellraiser, whenever
No,
that was.
was Luke just doing classic like trivia then?
I'm not sure actually, but anyway, we might repeat some. But yeah, have you got any for me?
I've got three for you, Ben. So the one
Okay.
I have for you first is oh sorry, what's the tagline of the film? What's the little write up here?
A young woman struggling with addiction comes into possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites.
Okay. So a young woman facing addiction problems comes into possession of a ray gun made by a popular laptop manufacturer in the contemporary age.
A Dell laser.
A Dell laser. I would have also accepted Dell phaser if you're a Star Trek fan. But yeah, Dell laser.
Very nice. Do you want to alternate? I got
Oh,
a
go
couple.
on then. Have
Not
you
so
got
great.
one? Go on.
Yeah. Okay. So a young woman struggling with addiction to crisps comes in
Oh,
possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites. Now, she tries to summon her favorite crisps, but she ends up getting some crisps that she really, really hates. In fact, the one she hates the most of all the crisps.
oh, she hates the crisp. Oh, I don't know. Any type of crisps you can dislike. Um, so
It's
she
not the crisp isn't key, but the word to describe the type of crisps is key.
the type of crisps. It's not the flavor,
As
just
it,
the brand.
you got it. It's a flavor,
Oh, so is it hell flavor?
hell flavor. Yeah,
Hell.
I've not changed the word hell in any of mine, so it's
Oh,
hell something.
I was gonna say.
Hell flavor.
I thought you were gonna
Prawn
say like
cocktail.
the. Oh, is that your hell flavor?
It's not my hell flavor, but it's definitely one I would never go anywhere near
I
because I
feel
don't
like
know.
I convinced myself that I don't like prawn cocktail crisps. Then when I do have them, I go, these are all right.
It's just a weird thing, isn't it? Like if someone said to you, "Oh, do you want to eat these fish flavor crisps?" You go, "Absolutely not." What are you on about? Are you mad? But then someone goes, "Do you want some prawn cocktail crisps?" You go, "Yeah, all right, fair enough." No. Okay. Have you got another one?
Yes. I think you're going to say Hell Quaver first, though. Would have been also
That's
very
much
good.
better. That's much better, for God's sake.
The other day, Karen was feeling a bit ropey. I said, she said, oh, I could really go for some quavers. I went to the shop and they only had salt and vinegar quavers. That was Hell Quaver for her. It's like,
What on
quavers that
earth?
aren't cheese? Hell Quaver.
That's bizarre. Is that the only other flavor of quavers they do? I'm
I
just
think
rapping now.
I think they might have done a prawn cocktail at some point in the past.
Yeah, they did. They did. You're correct.
But
I think they might have done a bacon one as well. Now I thought
oh,
about it.
all the quavers. Traditionally a
Bacon.
cheese snack. Here's my other one though. So a young woman suffering with addiction problems comes across a box which she is unaware is actually used to summon the Cenobites, and the in solving a bit of the puzzle, the box releases kind of like a fine mist. Fucking stinks.
A stinky mist.
Yeah, a real stinky mist.
What?
So what is that box if it produces a stinking foul mist?
Farting box.
No, then you know what it is.
Give me
It's
another
a
clue.
smell. Oh, God, I was going to tell you.
Smell maker.
I get. No, it's not a smell maker. What's another word for like a mist? I imagine you'd see it more of a warm mist than a cold mist.
Oh, horrible. Um, I don't
Perfect
know.
for a Clive Barker world. Smell hazer.
I've been hazed.
Yeah, making
God,
a stinky haze.
that's
Um,
horrible. Okay, so I got one. It is a young woman struggling with addiction comes into possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites, and they're going to take her to hell. But she's like, "Oh, you're taking me to hell? I've been absolutely gasping for a taste of hell recently. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get enough of the thought of going to hell."
ooh, can't get enough of
And
it.
and she's pregnant. And sometimes when you're pregnant, you crave.
Ah, that's
Oh
it.
no, I've said it. I said the word.
Hell Craver.
Shit. I'm getting worse.
Oh,
I'm getting worse at this, but every single week.
Hell
Hell, crave. It's really hard to describe crave without saying crave.
Really fancy it.
Very fancy a
um,
bit of hell right now.
I've got one more for you, Ben. One more. So,
Yeah.
a young woman struggling with addiction comes across a box which she doesn't realize summons the Cenobites. When one of them comes out, as a look around the antiques that she's got, and she's got a little line of little devices that you can get a note out of if you shake them, causing the clapper to bang on the chamber of the things. And looking at all of these little treasures, the Cenobite really goes and lets her know what she thinks the appropriate value of all of the pieces that they've seen are. Has a look around, really gives a good opinion on what they might be worth at auction.
Hell. Bell.
Yeah.
Uh. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Pinhead
Bell.
David Dickinson comes out and
I'm
goes,
thinking
"Oh, this one.
for
You
some.
want to put about a reserve of about £50 on this one? Ever so well."
Okay, Rater for some reason I'm thinking in my head, but that's not right, is it?
It's not. It is a Bella Praiser. Bella Praiser.
Ah, for God's sake. Bloody hell. Okay, I got one more.
One more.
A young woman struggling with addiction comes in possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Cenobites. One of the Cenobites is just like a little. It's a weird one. It's very strange in comparison to the others. It's like a little dehydrated grape. It's got a little dehydrated grape head.
Hellraiser.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Nah, there we go. That's the best one.
I got one more for you off the top of the dome, so apology if it's not very good. So, young woman suffering with addiction, she finds a box. She doesn't actually summon the Cenobites. It just summons like quite a little lightweight formal jacket that she can put around a watering hole in her garden.
It's a well blazer.
Well, Blazer, very good.
There you go. Do you know what I'm missing, right? That well outside. It looks great, but I'd like a little jacket to go on it. Oh yeah.
You
That's
got yourself
totally normal, isn't it?
a well Blazer. Yeah,
Well blazer.
that's it. The only thing
Okay.
left for us to do, got to rate the film.
Rate the film. Now I can't remember what I rated the original, but what I'm gonna say is I think I would rate this film a similar in terms of like a score, probably similar to the original. I think it's probably on a par, but at the same time as I say that, it's a very, very different film. So it's not like me saying this Hellraiser is just as good as the other Hellraiser. It's like it's really difficult to compare them because they are very different. This one's a lot more glossy, a lot more Hollywood. Perhaps the role of the Cenobites, especially Pinhead slash the Priestess, feels different to the role of Doug Bradley's Pinhead, where he kind of felt, I don't know, as you said, like talk to the manager, energy, and you feel like Priestess is the manager.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with some of the comments that we read out at the top of the show, which were it doesn't feel as like erotic as maybe the original, and it doesn't feel quite as sticky and gnarly and nasty and yeah.
I think
Obviously, Cenobites design.
violence wise more so, but I feel like it's not the 80s anymore. They've backed away from the sex. I think oddly enough, certainly some US audiences now are, and the content of the networks and what will be shown, they shy
That's
away
true.
from that stuff more than they do the violence. So I think violence is leaned into as much, but they've backed away on that sexual element
Backed
of
away
it.
on the sex stuff, yeah, and obviously the 80s as well. Like the sex stuff, it was a bit more like the sex stuff in the original Hellraiser feels a bit more like taboo, a bit more like an underworld, like an undercurrent, I guess, to the whole story and narrative of it. Whereas this one, so I did really enjoy this, but for me, it didn't have that Clive Barker flavor. It didn't have the Clive Barker vibe, didn't have the Hellraiser vibe, which is a very unique type of horror, you know. Whereas I feel like a lot of that kind of was gone in this film, but I don't think it affected the story as much. It just means that I enjoyed this film, but in a completely different way to the original Hellraiser. It's not like I'm saying one's better than the other. It's just a very different experience. And for that, I think I'll probably go for like a B plus, a B plus. I think I enjoyed it throughout the duration. I think the character design's great. It's a very good looking film. And in terms of if you were going to judge it in terms of how it compares to the rest of the franchise, I've not seen all of the franchise, but I probably would prefer this one to the second and third Hellraisers.
Yeah, right. That's a
So
good.
yeah,
It's a good.
B
It's a good.
plus.
It's a good score. I like you, Ben. I don't think you can necessarily compare it to the original. Different times. There's the nostalgia. There's the other things about it that you just went through. I do agree with you that maybe they've backed around from I say just this moment said that they back away from the sex element. They have sex scenes in this movie, but they feel sanitized for
Oh yeah,
what those other
vanilla.
ones were, and they take away that
Missionary.
undercurrent to it. Um, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, for me, when I think about other things in this, I really like what they did with the Cenobites. Um, I would have liked to see a little bit more character from them, and I think maybe, and we're not one to talk about brevity, Ben. We love a bit of a sidetrack and a chat here. I can recognize that problem, but we don't edit this. So you do edit a film. I think you could have made this 20 minutes shorter and it been just a little bit tighter. And I would have cut out just maybe some of the stuff in the middle. I think this film was at its best at its two ends of the spectrum. I liked it when it was dealing into the monsters and the horror. I liked the bit when there were actually just nice moments where we got to meet the characters, so we cared about them when they get got by Cenobites. I maybe didn't need some of the stuff in the middle, like the running about between the walls of that house,
Yeah.
and the being stuck in the door when the thing happened, and some of the longer conversations where we revealed the betrayal before we revealed the betrayal.
Yeah.
I think
Good point.
I
Good point.
think you could have wound that in by 20 minutes or so and get it to about 95 100 minutes, something like that, and I think it would have been a better film for it. Especially because the others, looking back, like, they're all pretty tight. They're all around. All the
Yeah.
ones I've watched so far, I've watched the first four and they all hit about 90 minutes. And you get a lot out of them in that time. So yeah, good. Hard to compare it to the ones because a lot has changed since, almost 40 years ago. Um, it's nice to see this franchise back. I know it's a franchise that I haven't watched the other ones yet, but I know that people say the later ones are just all over the place. It will be good to see what happens with the franchise now with the upcoming TV series that I guess is connected to this as opposed to the old ones.
Yeah, good point. I hadn't even thought about that TV series,
I
to be
mean, I
fair.
assume I assume Hulu are producing that as well, so I would imagine it's some kind of continuation or
Hmm.
anthology piece from there. But I like this. I like this well. I think I'm going to give it a B.
Yeah, nice. I think maybe when the hype dies down a bit, I might settle on a B. But I think right now B plus.
Yeah,
It's kind of looking pretty good to me. Yeah, there we go then. That is
and
Hellraiser.
I think Luke enjoyed it. I don't have it. He didn't send me a score, but he said that he liked
Yeah.
it all the same.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. So next week we are doing Halloween Ends. Does it
Yes,
end?
out this
Does Halloween
Friday. Will Evil die tonight on
Will Evil
Friday?
die tonight? Evil dies in a bit eventually. So yeah, let's see how that ends. Be good to round off that and do a final episode, and we would have covered the entire trilogy. Well, new trilogy, obviously, of the Halloween movies. That'll be interesting to see how we go with that.
And
Just got fingers
we
crossed.
recorded our list as well, right, Ben? We've done a bonus episode that covers
Yeah,
our
the
ranking of the
franchise
entire
ranking.
franchise.
Oh, so as soon as this film comes out, that episode's out of date.
We'll have to
Um,
record a little addendum and re-upload it saying,
yeah.
I think this goes third or wherever it goes in the
Also,
sequence.
yeah. There we go. So looking forward to that. So thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons: John Crinham, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Laura Kendrick, Toby Miller, Ollie Child, Leslie Carlo, Julia Bilgren, Nick Spill, Rob Parker, and Pazuzu.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. Head over to the Facebook group, Horror Hangout Board of Advisors, for more. We're on Twitter at horror_hangout_, and we're on Instagram at horror hangout podcast. We're also on YouTube. Just search Horror Hangout. Subscribe to our channel. It was a channel that we used to share with Hawk and Cleaver and the other stories. Now it's all just Horror Hangout content. on there. So be sure to go and find that, and we'll put the link in the show notes as well, as we always do. But yeah, go and check that out. Thanks to my co-host Andy for being a right horror dude.
Thank you, Ben, for also being a right horror dude. And you're out there, as and when you get around to watching new Hellraiser, message in. Tell us, based on your hobbies or interest, what kind of Cenobite you'd be made into.
Yeah. Tell us if you enjoyed the film. Tell us what kind of Cenobite you'd be. And let us know if you ever experienced an anal stab. Okay? Because I've got a chart. I've got an Excel spreadsheet I need to fill in, all right? Fors and against.
See this ad one. Yeah. Get on and do all those things. Well, just before we go, Ben, what Cenobite would you be? You wear hats a lot. Would you be hat?
I'd be a hat Cenobite. Or maybe like because it's hell, they take the hat off. I'd be hatless. So they really point, there'd be like arrows pointing to my head, going, yeah, got a hat on.
No. And
Say that, Bonds.
And the arrows would be ever so sharp. Just loads of big arrows.
Bloody he's killing me. What about you, Andy? What'd you be?
Don't know. Stress eating. I don't know.
Stress eating. You like running. You're incredibly active. I'm assuming you've got absolutely lovely calves. Maybe your calves would be sliced off, and
yeah, they'd get us, and then my legs would be like those. You know, when you play Sonic and they run to when he runs, they're like just circled, just be like that. Circular legs.
Just that tune playing in your head over and over.
No,
I like it.
It's fair, you know. Do like a video game. Might have a wireless controller smashed into my head. Might be that.
Oh God, I think it'd just be we just wander into frame. Horror Hangout podcast hosts. B+, B, C+, C+.
Just rating things, and then you say things. The letters come out. Oh no!
Yeah, everything you say, I'm rating it. Well, that was awful. D-, terrible.
No, fuck's sake.
Let us know, everybody. Let us know, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time for more Horror Hangout. Enjoy, everybody. Bye for now.
Goodbye. Hellraiser.